Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. You did it. And we're all here together. This is nice. We're going to get the show started just about a minute from now. But I want to, again, remind you, you're not watching this on YouTube. YouTubers will need to find other places to watch the show. If you people, if you guys could help us by spreading the word that we are not on YouTube. Tweet about it, put it in your groups, put it on your Facebook, tweet it to your tweeters. Tell Elon. If you could get Elon to let everybody know, that'd be great. Or even better, if you could go to the most recent YouTube videos on the Canary Cry News Talk channel and just post a comment in the comment section, because a lot of people will go there thinking it's the new one, and it won't be. Just let them know we're not on YouTube now or for the next week or so. But you can find all of our other locations at CanaryCry.Party. If you go to CanaryCry.Party, try it now. Go there now, CanaryCry.Party. And you'll see Gonz took a stab at switching it up. He spent some time on it today, changing my cool background and adding some things. But you can now find links to the Face Like the Sun archive, Face Like the Sun Resurrection channel, as well as a link to listen to Ravel podcast, which you should definitely do. So go check it out, CanaryCry.Party, baby. And other than that, let's get the show started. Woo!
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is May the 4th. Be with you, 2022. This is episode number 480. We're live to tape, baby. And today, ELEAK on. Razzle Dazzle. Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And for those of you watching, there's a Star Wars reference on my head, which I will now take off.
Your head.
I think we're done with the celebration here.
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah. No, this is back when you were first having your son.
Yes.
Was also when The Mandalorian was sort of at its peak at the time. Mm-hmm. And a producer sent you this nice Mandalorian hat.
Yeah.
Or I guess it's a helmet, but you kind of wear it as a hat.
It kind of melted into this rubbery, I guess if you don't use it, it just wilts.
If you don't use it, you lose it, Gonz.
It's the way,
so
man.
Happy. This is the way. This is the way that we are going to do this episode. It's going to be a weird one. We are just completely off the rails today, but we have a great show for you. And I don't know. We forgot to get Star Wars news, so we'll just see if something happens that we can break on the show. But of course, if you're looking for a little bit of a summary of what you can prepare yourself for this episode, of course, there's the Supreme Court leak on the Roe v. Wade case. We've got some more Elon updates, specifically on how Elon is sort of stalking Gonz is very important. Flippy is going to be coming in here, just a taste of Flippy, and you'll understand. We're going to get back into some dream hacking, some subliminal advertising, some mind control weapons. Then, actually, a short but very important COVID segment, followed by the Great Reset and some of the pawns moving across the chessboard regarding Antarctica, of course, is involved. But we've got some resource, divestments. We've got the Swiss preparing for severe electricity and gas shortages. We've got all sorts of important things that tie in to the broader, not the broader narrative, but it's not even a narrative. It's the great narrative, Gonz. Anyways, we got a great show for you today. But we're going to start out with some lead stories, specifically. There's something's leaking, Gonz. Something's leaking. Do you hear that?
Is that a leak? I think I hear something leaking. Yeah. All right.
Something's leaking. Did you?
Are you even woke up, man?
Of course, the big story from the last couple of days here is the one here from Reuters. Headline: Under pressure, abortion leak exposes U.S. Supreme Court's disunity.
You hear my cool leak noise?
Was that you? Okay, I was like, all right.
That was me. You remember that in middle school where you flick your cheek?
Yes. Yeah, that was
There's
very
a
good.
leak, baby. Okay.
Excellent. Great job.
Sorry, I just shotgunned 2 caffeine waters before the show, everybody. So
yeah, ready to go. Pumped up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, the headline: Abortion leak exposes U.S. Supreme Court's disunity. Oh no, the disunity of the Supreme Court. And
I know. Is it too early to comment on that?
Go ahead.
I mean, just the headline itself. Under pressure, abortion leak exposes U.S. Supreme Court's disunity. When has the Supreme Court ever supposed to be united? It's not supposed to be united. It's not some sort of, council of elders that rules the happenings of the peons. No, it's supposed to be
that's what they would like it to become.
I don't know. A court. They go back and forth. They're supposed to disagree. That's why there's 9 of them. I don't know what this unity of the Supreme Court means, but okay, keep going.
All right. Well, I don't even think we should read the article because we're going to go straight to Nightline here. Nightline did a piece, long piece on it, and then we'll break it down here. But just some of the info according to Nightline.
All right.
On the steps of the nation's highest court,
Roe v. Wade has got to go!
The nation's most divisive issue laid bare. After the bombshell leak of a draft opinion showing that 5 conservative Supreme Court justices appear poised to strike down Roe versus Wade.
Notice how they don't ever talk about who leaked it. Is it a legal leak? There's nothing about who leaked this document.
Well, there's a lot of speculation. We'll get into that a little bit. But.
Okay.
The nearly 50-year-old landmark decision that protected a woman's right to access abortion.
There have been leaks before about negotiations, about vote changes, about the outcome in a case, but there has never in history been the leak of a full draft opinion, let alone in one of the most important cases in a generation.
The draft opinion, while not final and not meant to be released to the public, raises the stakes on both sides of the abortion debate. If Roe is overturned, 26 states are certain or likely to ban or severely restrict access to abortion.
26 states, that's almost 36 million reproductive capable people who are going to be losing access to abortion care. And
reproductive capable people.
Yeah, that doesn't sound eugenicsy at all.
It's better than birthing persons.
Yeah, sure. We'll hear more from this lady.
Reproductive capable people. Well, I don't know if that actually makes any sense because technically men are reproductively capable. I mean, they play their own part as long as they're capable.
Yes.
And if you're not capable, there's pills for that.
Yes. And also, I don't know, more recently, they've been really pushing for the scientific approach to having that whole thing happen.
You're talking the male birth control.
Not just that, but the actual male carrying out a whole pregnancy.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I mean, they're working towards that. They're not quite there yet.
That's confusing. Well, it's confusing because they do, and part of it is the trans issue, and this is not what we plan on talking about here, but just because you brought it up. Yeah. They're talking about men, carrying children or whatever, being reproductively capable. It becomes so much more confusing in the trans issue where a lot of times when they say men can have babies, they're talking about biological women.
Right. Yeah.
With beards or whatever, presenting male, which is different than an actual biological male having children.
Exactly.
I don't know. The whole thing's confusing.
Yeah. Well, we're going to hear more from Colleen McNicholas because this whole piece here does paint a picture of who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, and what you should do about it. That's the whole messaging of Nightline here. So let's continue.
Yes,
36 million reproductive capable people who are going to be losing access to abortion care in the coming days, months, or years.
This is actually the very beginning of our battle to make abortion unthinkable and unavailable.
On Capitol Hill, Democratic lawmakers furious.
This is what the Republicans have been working toward this day for decades.
Do you want to do the whole...
Is that Elizabeth Warren?
Yeah, but we have the whole Elizabeth Warren rant. I cut a couple parts out where the crowd cheers and stuff. It's 1:43. It is a little bit longer, but do you want to just have it, just so we can
She seems
document?
pretty upset. We might as well listen
she's
to
mad.
her.
She's mad. And it's in classic Pocahontas fashion.
Oh,
she's
Gonz.
just, the hypocrisy is, okay, here we go.
I am angry because we have reached the culmination of what Republicans have been fighting for, angling for decades now. And we are going to fight back. I am angry because of who will pay the price for this. It will not be wealthy women. Wealthy women can get on an airplane. They can fly to another state. They can fly to another country. They can get the protection they need. This will fall on the poorest women in our country. This will fall on those who have been raped. This will fall on mothers who are already struggling to work 3 jobs to be able to support the children they have. Well, I am here because I am angry, and I am here because the United States Congress can change all of this. Angry, but committed. Understand this. I have seen the world where abortion is illegal. And we are not going back. Not ever. No. So say it with me. We are not going back. We are not going back. Not ever. Not ever. Not ever. Not ever. Not ever. Not ever. Never.
Whoa. Wow.
Whoa, are you amped?
Wow.
Activated, baby.
Pretty amped. I was going to say, that's the activation right there. That is the mobilization. And it does not, we've been saying it since the beginning. If you remember, the last time Roe versus Wade had its big sort of run-in, its big issue over in Texas, specifically on the states' right side of things, happened just right in the nick of time for Newsom's recall election. Yep. And that was absolutely just activation for the Democratic parties. Yeah, and it worked perfectly. And the timing of this, of course, it's the culture war. It's the activation of the Democrats that had been. They'd gotten maybe they
went back to their Netflix and chill. They weren't paying attention to politics anymore.
They gotten lazy.
Yeah.
They gotten lazy once COVID started kind of drifting away.
Trump's got this. Let Joe handle it.
Exactly, and especially with the mandates and the COVID restrictions and all the World War III
Ukraine,
that Biden is starting.
Let Joe handle all the foreign stuff. We're good here in America.
Yeah, so this is perfectly timed, very well executed activation of the Democratic base right before the midterms. And it's even, the timing is just so perfect, especially because this is not even technically a decision yet. This was a leak of a draft.
Yeah.
And, I don't know exactly if this is how it works or not, but I do know when it comes to drafts, in a lot of different industries and a lot of different well, especially the news industry, they'll write 2 stories. They'll write each story for whatever side of a court case, actually ends up coming through. I wonder if the Supreme Court does something similar, if one side writes a draft of their proposal, the other side writes another draft. Yeah. And, you could have both drafts. It's very convenient to be able to leak one of them.
Well, and one of the things later on, I don't think I included it in a clip, but one of the law professors that's being quoted in this Back to the Nightline piece, she basically says that this could be sort of the extreme, a starting place where you start big and then you sort of chisel away at it as time goes on. People can change their minds later on or whatever, but it's sort of like a broad, first draft kind of thing. So, whatever. Sure. But they're making it doesn't matter what it is. They've made it a political issue, and boom, they've got the activation, they got the media on it.
Yeah. And I love to. I'm going to go back real quick to the article that you brought. Under pressure, abortion leak exposes U.S. Supreme Court's disunity. Says here the leak of a draft of the U.S. Supreme Court ruling overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade abortion rights decision shows a once stead body creaking under pressure.
Wow. That is very distasteful. Reuters, come on, man.
It is pretty distasteful. I mean, it's like.
Did you hear about the story? This is nothing to do, but it kind of does with there's like that. I'm having a brain.
Hold on. Hold on to it.
Okay, let me find it before I talk about it.
Yeah, go find it. So a once dead body creaking under pressure as its increasingly assertive conservative majority looks to upend the law on a range of major issues. So there's a range of issues. The court's hard-won reputation as the grown-up branch of the government is now slipping away.
Please.
And if you remember, Gonz, at the latter part of 2021, there were some weird little things starting to pop up with the Supreme Court. Some personal, they were like making a
character assassination.
Something like that. Of the Supreme Court. They were talking about the different justices having little squabbles and, being snarky to one another. And they were kind of starting to build this narrative that the Supreme Court are kind of like just a bunch of children, and we shouldn't trust them. We shouldn't hold them in such high esteem. The media created this narrative, and I said it then, and I've again happy to say that this is one of the things that I've gotten right over the past year or so, which is I said, hey, keep an eye on this. They are going to create a situation where the Supreme Court is is being deconstructed, and I don't mean that in kind of the way we use it here, deconstructing the news, but it's they're tearing it down. Dismantled. Yeah. The article goes on. The disclosure was the latest in a string of controversies ensnaring the court, intended to be a nonpartisan body. And then it goes into, Clarence Thomas and his wife and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, the character assassination part of it.
Oh, yeah. Just one by one, they're sort of assassinating the character of mainly the conservative justices, but it includes some of the liberal justices. Now, there's a lot of discussion over who leaked this, who leaked the draft opinion, who could have possibly done it, who is attacking the Supreme Court's their honor. And there's only 36 people who have access to the drafts. So you've got all 9 justices, and it's funny because they assume that a justice didn't actually do it, which they've gone so far to make us consider these justices as sort of petulant children who are willing to pull pranks on one another and stuff like that in public. I think it's funny that they assume it wasn't one of the liberal justices or something. But there's 36 other people who have access to these drafts, and they're the law clerks for each of the justices. Each of the 9 justices have 4 law clerks, and those law clerks have access to the drafts. Now, you got to, maybe assume that it wasn't one of the conservatives' clerks, although I don't know why, but this is just what the analysis I was reading was assuming. So that leaves 16 people who work for the liberal justices who could have potentially leaked it. And I'll be very curious to see how aggressively the media tries to actually figure it out. Do they actually want to figure out who did it? Because it is an actual crime.
Well, clearly, the Nightline doesn't really care. It's the substance of the leak.
Oh, Nightline doesn't care. No. But, I mean, this is a crime. If they catch the person, they will be imprisoned. Or if they're not imprisoned, it'll be, its own sort of controversy.
Right.
So that's kind of where it stands. We don't know who did it, but it's a pretty small pool of people who would do it. I don't know.
The line about a once dead body creaking under pressure reminded me of it was a story about the retailer Ulta Beauty. They came out with an email that said, "Hang with Kate Spade," and Kate Spade hung herself in 2018. So they had to backtrack. Real back. So that's. But there they had to apologize and backtrack. Here, nobody's going to care because it's the other way in the political aisle. But yeah, let's go back to the Nightline report here because there's a few more things to point out.
2 key Republican senators who support abortion rights, Susan Collins of Maine and Alaska's Lisa Murkowski, also upset.
If it goes in the direction that this leaked copy has indicated, it rocks my confidence in the court right now.
Other Republicans angered by the leak, but in support of the potential decision.
I thought Roe v. Wade was a constitutional overstep, so we'll be back into the business that we were before 1973, allowing each state to decide what to do.
President Biden reacting with alarm, calling it radical if Roe versus Wade is overturned and warning it won't stop there.
If it becomes a law and if what is written is what remains, it goes far beyond the concern of whether or not there is the right to choose.
Just real quick, too, for those of you watching, one of the Secret Service guys is behind Biden, and you couldn't depict a more perfect handler. He just looks
like
hawkish.
He looks like a Pixar character of a Secret Service agent.
I mean, perfect. Anyway,
of whether or not there is the right to choose.
In a statement, Chief Justice John Roberts confirmed authenticity of the draft, calling it a betrayal of the confidence of the court, and ordered the marshal of the court to investigate. The leaked document, dated February 10th, is labeled the first draft of an opinion of the court. By Justice Samuel Alito, the 67-page draft ruling is clear, sharp, and scornful, declaring in its opening paragraphs that Roe versus Wade must be overruled, and that the 1973 ruling was egregiously wrong from the start. And Alito dismisses the argument in Roe that the right to choose abortion is part of the constitutional guarantee of liberty and privacy.
I would characterize the language as extremely strident. It's not an opinion that seeks to find common ground or to compromise. Much of the tone of the opinion seems very clearly to suggest the kind of fundamental illegitimacy of a position that supports a constitutional right to abortion.
Pause it real quick.
It's the end of the clip.
We've had this conversation before. We've talked about when Texas was doing their Roe v. Wade thing, we've talked about the fact that Roe v. Wade is technically regarding the privacy rights, between a patient and a doctor. I mean, it's sort of applied to abortion, and it was decided in the context of abortion, but it is technically upholding the right to privacy between a doctor and a patient. And within that space is where abortion happens. And we discussed, in case there's new listeners or people may not remember the discussion, but we discussed how when it comes to vaccine passports, when it comes to, the sort of throwing out the window of HIPAA laws, vaccine passports, digital ID, things like this, forcing health procedures to be mandatory and being able to ask about vaccine status, things like this. Those things are actually sort of protected by Roe v. Wade. I mean, you could make a case that Roe v. Wade protects the unvaccinated, as well as, the abortion issue. And it was setting up for a very, again, contentious, weird, topsy-turvy, upside-down clown world thing where if you were, if you believe in privacy between you and your doctor and nobody being able to tell you what you and your doctor can do in that relationship or whatever, you got to support Roe v. Wade. And so here we are. The CERN fired up the other week. Democrats are supporting deregulation of corporation, and now we have Democrats supporting Roe v. Wade, which protects the unvaccinated, and you have allegedly you have the conservative sort of army marching forward to take away the protections for the unvaccinated. It's just a very strange thing.
Yeah. And there's multiple layers that make this discussion extremely challenging for,
this is extremely challenging
to the topic too. There's a lot to it, a lot of history, a lot of philosophy, a lot of political science. There's so many layers.
There's also the states' rights issue,
which is, and then also just the baby killing issue.
There's, of course, the baby killing, of course.
Yeah.
But the states, they said it right in this report, there would be 26 states poised to, ban abortion or whatever, because taking away the federal decision, again, returns the decision to the states.
You mean we're going to decentralize the decision to the states? How dare America do such a thing?
That's why the establishment doesn't like it so much.
So Nightline here continues to paint a picture of the heroes in this fight and the villains. So I'm going to start off with the hero, which is this individual here.
The only thing surprising to me about the leaked Supreme Court decision was the timing. We saw this.
First of all, she said the only surprising thing about the leaked document is the timing. When
that's weird.
You and I would agree, and I think most people listening would agree that that's the least surprising part of it. We're in we're literally at the kickoff of the midterms.
Yeah.
The timing
the culture war has to fire up right before the midterms. And of course this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's a nice, again, and here's the deceptive part. The deceptive part is people think that the Democrat establishment doesn't want this to happen. The Democrat establishment absolutely wants this to happen.
Oh, yeah, this
because
is great for mobilization.
It's great. It's going to get everybody reelected. It's going to activate the Democrat base. Oh, there's nobody in the world that wants Roe v. Wade to be under threat more than a Democrat politician moving into the midterms.
Yeah, yeah. Here we go.
About the leaked Supreme Court decision was the timing. We saw this coming, and we have been preparing for this moment.
Dr. Colleen McNicholas is an abortion provider in the Midwest. She lives and works in Missouri, a state she says already feels like living in the post-Roe world.
The folks who are going to be disproportionately affected the most are going to be people who are the most marginalized already. It's going to be folks in rural communities. It's going to be Black and brown folks, people who are unhoused, undocumented, people who have financial insecurity.
The lengths Dr. McNicholas takes to get through her day-to-day duties chronicled in the 2018 documentary Reversing Roe.
In America, 1 in 4 women will have an abortion in their life. So to me, abortion is just basic health care. We're going to remove the pregnancy. Okay.
So there you go. You got an abortion doctor in Missouri that was tracked in a Netflix film about her struggles in a very conservative state, trying to provide for the less fortunate. So she's a hero in the context of Frontline here. But you also have to have the villains. And in this next clip, I have the villain transition into another personal interest story. And the transition happens because of the music that kicks in. But this clip starts with the casted villain of this situation.
If this leak is correct, if the court does in fact move to reverse Roe versus Wade, this is not simply a notch on like a political victory belt. This is lives at stake.
Kristen Hawkins is the president of Students for Life of America. We first met her at the 2015 March for Life.
We are the pro-life generation!
For the past 16 years, her group has advocated to abolish abortion completely.
Now is time to get to work, to activate this army, this nearly 1,300 Students for Life groups that we support and train across the United States.
So yeah, it's this other Republican conservative side that's activating politically, not the Democrats. It's the Republicans activating. This is meant to cause alarm for the Democrats to say, "Oh my gosh, they're mobilized. Exactly. They're going to try to take office. We must do something about this."
United States.
She says even if Roe versus Wade is overturned, her mission will continue, working with state legislatures state by state, like in Oklahoma, where just today the governor signed a 6-week abortion ban into law, modeled off the controversial Texas bill SB 8 from last summer.
If Roe does in fact fall, we have a number of states where we know we'll have immediate battles to make abortion unavailable, and then we're going to have other states which are going to be longer term objectives where we'll be engaging in primaries, we'll be engaging in general races to elect the leaders that will uphold the will of the people.
So you can just have a seat right here.
I was like, I'm pregnant, I'm trying to get an abortion.
For thousands in Texas, like Maddie, a college student, SB 8 was devastating.
Drowning. That's the best word to describe it, is drowning.
Last year, we followed Maddie across state lines to Mississippi.
Now it's a waiting game.
To that very clinic now at the center of the Supreme Court case.
Do you feel secure in your decision?
Yeah. My decision hasn't wavered. It's my body and it's my choice. If Roe v. Wade does get overturned in the next couple months, there are going to be so many marches and rallies to bring support to women that have feared this for so long, and I will be there.
She will be there protesting.
She'll be there. Yeah,
activated.
She is activated.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
well, there you go. That's what this whole thing is about. It's the culture war. We've been talking about it for a while here. And that's, again, nobody wants this more than the Democrats. And, the Republicans enjoy it, too. Feels like a win. Also activating them there. There's a political war going on, and people's lives are being toyed with. Their minds and their sort of allegiances are being tested and activated. It's going to be a rough 6 months here.
Yeah, let me... got a little mistake I have here. I am not streaming on Rumble properly, so I need to fix that real quick. But in the meantime, Elon
you
here.
You are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Neural nets are taking over from regular programming. So you are connected.
You want to do this first New York Post thing here, Basil, real quick, and then I'll go through my little thing and then wrap it up with another New York Post article.
Sounds good. NewYorkPost.com headline, Elon Musk questions Twitter boycott, call from groups backed by Soros and Clinton operatives. Ooh, a lot of nice trigger words there. Elon Musk is demanding to know who was behind a letter signed by more than 24 liberal groups that has urged advertisers to boycott Twitter if he completes his takeover of the social media giant. Left-leaning NGOs whose backers include billionaire financier George Soros and former Clinton operatives, as well as the European Union and the Canadian government, are urging a boycott of Twitter if Musk takes over the company. Wow, what a lineup that is.
Right?
George Soros, Clinton operatives, European Union, and Canadian government. It's perfect.
World War III is on a different front here. The other frontier of World War III.
Quote, who funds these organizations that want to control your access to information? Let's investigate, Musk tweeted on Tuesday. He added that, quote, sunlight is the best disinfectant. The letter, which was signed by 26 organizations, claimed that Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter will further toxify our information ecosystem and be a direct threat to public safety. A direct threat to public safety. Especially among those already most vulnerable and marginalized.
You mean people like us? We're marginalized by like YouTube and
Seriously.
We're vulnerable.
No. Yeah. Nobody's protecting our public safety.
Nobody cares. Yeah.
Musk taking control of Twitter means advertising on the platform, quote, risks association with a platform amplifying hate, extremism, health misinformation, and conspiracy theorists, the letter said.
Notice,
quote, under Musk.
It associates with conspiracy theorists, not theories, actual individuals.
Yeah, right. It's individual. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so they name sort of concepts like hate, extremism, health misinformation, and then people, conspiracy theorists. Yeah, that's very good catch. Quote, under Musk's management, Twitter risks becoming a cesspool of misinformation.
Isn't it a cesspool of misinformation already? It's like, come on, man.
It's always been a cesspool. With your brand attached, polluting our information ecosystem at a time where trust is in institutions and news media is already at an all-time low, the letter added. Quote, your ad dollars can either fund Musk's vanity project or hold him to account. We call on you to demand Musk uphold these basic standards of community trust and safety and to pull your advertising spending from Twitter if they are not. The document's letterhead includes the logos of 3 organizations, Accountable Tech, Media Matters for America, and Ultraviolet. Oh, yeah. Accountable Tech, I don't need to go into all these things, right?
Yeah,
we know what they are.
They're just Hillary and the whole deal.
Yeah, exactly. They're all Soros, Hillary, just general sort of world-controlling liberal institutions there. Let's see here. Other signatories like Access Now.
Liberals fear Musk will allow Donald Trump, who was removed from Twitter January 6, 2021, riot at the U.S. Capitol. Other key conservative figures. So yeah.
Oh yeah, right. No, so that's yeah. Okay, I see what you're doing. Yeah, that's the last sentence of the whole thing is liberals fear Musk will allow Donald Trump, who was removed from Twitter, to be back on Twitter, and that's the whole thing. Pull your ad stuff at your ad dollars so Trump doesn't get back on Twitter.
Right.
Yeah, love it. See, this is what happens when you take ad dollars from.
But you know what's funny? Is
the lizard people.
Yeah, what's funny is these people, this organization, they would love to have Trump back on Twitter so that the advertisers would actually pull off, right? If Trump comes back, they're like, oh, we definitely have to stop our ad dollars now. But since Trump is like, nah, I choose
He's
social,
not going to.
So it kind of spoils their plan. So they need to come up with other ways to smear Elon, which, we're not defending Elon here. It's just this is the war that has been created. This oligarch technocrat war, and I'll speak on that in a moment.
It's a culture war being waged on levels that we don't even have access to with these elites here.
So I should have had that jingle about, have you ever had the feeling of being watched? Right. There's something weird that happened. Here we go.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
I have. And it happened yesterday, Basil. Very strange. So Elon Musk tweeted this out, which the article mentioned, who funds these organizations that want to control your access to information? Let's investigate. And it's a CNN article about how brands should force Twitter to uphold content policies. And he tweeted that out at 12:34 p.m., and he replied to that in that thread and said, "Sunlight is the best disinfectant." A sort of the analogy being that when you shine a light on bad things, you can disinfect it, you can clean it up, basically.
Yep.
So I retweeted this. I quote tweeted it along with 2,000, almost 3,000 other people. And I said, anyone remember the clip from Age of Deceit 3 where I quote Manly P. Hall's final presentation where he says a messiah will come in the 21st century to do a cleanup job. Elon shining a light on the current infrastructure of social media and advertising. He's doing a cleanup job. Now, Manly P. Hall wrote a book called The Secret Keys to Freemasonry, The Lost Keys of Freemasonry.
Yeah.
And so I tweet this thing out, mentioning Elon shining a light and how it's kind of like what Manly P. Hall was talking about. This guy, there's going to be a guy, some messianic figure, the Prince of Peace, who will eradicate the corruption, the political corruption and everything, as part of what we, the Masons or the secret society, whatever, have been trying to do or have been doing for centuries. And so I tweet that out at 12:47. 13 minutes later, Basil. Elon, 13, I know. Elon tweets another tweet. And this is just out of the blue. This isn't responding. This is like a main tweet that he tweeted out. Ultimately, the downfall of the Freemasons was giving away their stone cutting services for nothing. And I'm thinking, first off, just out of nowhere. Yeah, out of nowhere, Elon's talking about Freemasons
after you replied to him about Manly P. Hall.
Yeah, or quote tweeted him.
Right.
So I didn't say anything about Freemasonry in the tweet. I did mention Manly P. Hall's name.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he saw it, in his little Twitter thing, and he was like, and it prompted him to respond about Freemasons. And his whole point was Twitter will always be free for casual users, but maybe a slight cost for commercial/government users. Yeah. Which is kind of interesting. It's sort of
it's a way. It's a strategy against the the advertising model,
right?
Which is funny. I don't know if I mentioned it. I mentioned it to you personally, Gonz, but Jack Dorsey came out and said his biggest regret was putting Twitter on the advertising model.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, he did say that, and he might even come back. Elon might bring him back, and that could be part of the whole plot here as well. So that
it's because of the control mechanism,
right?
People still get mad at us for saying what we say about advertising, and Jack Dorsey himself is saying going under the advertising model is part of what turned Twitter into such a problem.
Right. So the New York Post summarized this today. Elon Musk says Twitter users may be charged to use platform. And they quote the tweet there, and then they say the tweet was a reply to a cryptic message he posted earlier about the decline of fraternal trade organizations. And then, the Freemason tweet. If the pay-to-post policy was implemented, it would be the first major social media company that would charge users to interact with its platform. So there you go. And then the SpaceX founder and the world's richest man has indicated he may ease Twitter's censorship policies, verify every user, and convert the company's headquarters into a homeless shelter. He's previously said he planned on cutting the price of the site's $3 a month premium membership, Twitter Blue, and letting members pay in Dogecoin, the tycoon's preferred cryptocurrency. So, so he's making moves. Now, one of the most popular videos on the Face Like the Sun channel, I think it had like 1.5 million views, or maybe close to 2 million, is a video I made called The Mysterious Lineage of Elon Musk. And I have a link in the show notes to the archive in Odyssey. I published the video on October 19th, 2018. And I just kind of went through it this morning to refresh some of the data, the information that I was digging up at the time. And I had completely forgotten, and it's a good reminder, that Elon Musk's grandfather, Dr. J.N. Haldeman, was a technocrat. The actual organization, the technocracy that existed in the 1930s.
Right.
And he was even arrested for being part of a secret, or what they call an illegal organization. So, his grandfather is literally a technocrat, and he and May Musk, who's Elon's mom, who's a twin, they traveled the world and went to all these different ancient sites and ruins and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, if there's just a random family who's a technocrat, open technocrat, traveling the world, looking for ancient artifacts and stuff, you don't think the secret intelligence has an eye on them at the very least, or maybe paying for the trips? You know what I mean? Like it's pretty straightforward. So I just think it's something most people don't know, is that Elon's family lineage.
There's a legacy.
Legacy of the literal organization of the technocrats that formed in the 30s.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah.
And his mother being sort of an occult priestess type person in the first place.
Very much so. So, yeah, I mean, this whole thing was weird. Some people are like, "Oh, Elon's probably a fan of the show." I highly doubt that. I don't think Elon's paying attention to Canary Cry News.
Probably not. But he has people. He might have see things. You know, we probably show up on the alerts or something.
Sure. Yeah, we use his likeness sometimes, and we talk about him. So I'm sure he may receive it in his
got a finger on the pulse
data,
or maybe
stream.
He's just a huge fan. He loves the googly eyes, man.
Maybe it's possible.
He thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's or maybe he just loves Age of Deceit.
I doubt it.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, let's remind me what day it is again, Gonz.
It is Wednesday.
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the CanaryCry News Talk. Yeehaw!
Let me get that out of the way, but more properly.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
So much fun. That's right. It's WMD, folks, and we're here. We're back. We're loving it. Gonz, you got anything interesting happen to you the past couple days?
Oh, no. Not really.
No,
nothing interesting. I mean,
nothing
a lot
interesting.
It's been a rough few weeks with passing of the father-in-law, and then his brother just passed away as well, like within the same month. So I mean, right. it's weighed on our family. So it's been rough, but and then little kids don't sleep.
So little kids don't sleep, man. Yeah, what are you going to do? Yeah. I've been having trouble sleeping, too. It's been still pretty stuffy. Now, I do have an update. I was a little bit totally in another realm of consciousness because of the amount of Dayquil I took last show. Still sick, by the way. And I went ahead and took a look at the dosage on the Dayquil that I have. And, I'm a bigger guy. I'm kind of used to taking, more than the recommended dose.
You can handle your Dayquil.
I can handle my Dayquil, I'm pretty good. And I went ahead and looked, and I realized I took about 4 times the recommended dose last show. Yeah, so I went ahead. That explained a lot from last show. So I went ahead and cut that down, and hopefully I'll be able to keep my head on straight this show. We'll see, though. But it is a weird week.
I don't know. We were both feeling pretty defeated before we started.
We almost didn't make it today. We almost didn't even
struggling
make it
to get
on
going.
The show. Yeah. All right, but we're here and we're happy about it. And I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but like Jack Dorsey, we have something in common with Jack Dorsey.
I'm telling you, man, he's misunderstood.
Doesn't want Twitter under the control or the influence of the advertising corporations. He said it was the worst possible thing that he could have overseen during his time there. His biggest regret, and Gonz, it would be our biggest regret also if we suddenly turned our back on the value for value model and went to the corporate overlords to get our funding for the show, but we still haven't done it, and we're proud of it. No advertisements, no affiliate codes, no partnerships with any big corporations, no nothing. We are entirely funded by producers of the show. And who are the producers? They're you, dear listener. You are, listening to some quality independent media. Independent from what, you might ask? Independent from corporate money and corporate influence. And it's only possible through the participation of our listeners of the value for value model. And it's very simple. We create the value. You put some value back in if it brings any value to your life. And it's the only way that this show continues. And some of the biggest participants in the value for value model, we call them our executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right. Executive producers are coming in, getting value and putting value back into the system. We appreciate it so much. Their generosity, their participation is so valued. And in times like this, Gonz, when the number, by the numbers, we have less and less producers coming in, especially this show. You can pretty much count our producers of this show on one hand, but our executive producer makes it possible to keep this show going. So I want to thank our executive producer, Maureen M.
Maureen!
Whee!
Good to see you,
Thank
Maureen.
you
Thank you so much.
Indeed. Thank you so much. That's right. Thank you very much. We'll be thanking executive producer Maureen M. again later on in the show, as well as our nice little handful of producers keeping this episode going. So if you have never produced before and you get value out of the show, today would be a great opportunity to show how much you care, show how much value you get in, and show that you believe in the sort of revolutionary economic model that is the value for value system. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I think it's time to check in with our good buddy Flippy.
Here he is.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. Flippy, if you don't know, is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways the robots are taking over the world, and now there's nothing we can do about it. Today, Flippy Update is coming from 7news.com.au, and the headline is Robot Chef Trained to Chew and Taste Food. This is what it means for omelets.
Very specific.
Omelets. It's not just omelets, folks. It's us. They're going to be scrambling our eggs soon. It goes like this. A robot chef, in quotes, has been trained to taste food at different stages of the chewing process to check if it is salty enough, imitating a similar process in humans. University of Cambridge researchers suggest their results could be useful in the development of automated or semi-automated food preparation by helping robots to learn what it does and does not taste good, making them better cooks. When food is chewed, people notice a change in taste and texture. For example, biting into a fresh tomato at the height of summer will release juices, and as it's chewed, saliva and digestive enzymes are released, changing our perception of the tomato's flavor. The robot, which has already been trained to make omelets, tasted 9 different variations of scrambled eggs and tomatoes at 3 different stages of the chewing process. It then produced taste maps of the different dishes. The researchers found this, quote, taste-as-you-go approach improved the robot's ability to quickly and accurately assess the saltiness of a dish. Grzegorz Soszak there is a Z in that name. I have no idea how. I don't even know if it's correct, but there's a Z and not where you'd think, people. From Cambridge's Department of Engineering, the paper's first author said, quote, most home cooks will be familiar with the concept of tasting as you go, checking a dish throughout the cooking process to check whether the balance of flavors is right. Quote, if the robots are to be used for certain aspects of food preparation, it's important that they are able to taste what they are cooking. Co-author Dr. Arsen Abdullali, also from the Department of Engineering, said, quote, current methods of electronic tasting only take a single snapshot from a homogenized sample. So we wanted to replicate a more realistic process of chewing and tasting in a robotic system, which should result in a tastier end product. To imitate the human process of chewing and tasting in their robot chef, researchers attached a probe which acts like a saltiness sensor to a robotic arm.
There it is.
There he is.
Flippy.
He's not just cooking the food, but he's sticking his little probe in there too to taste it. They prepared scrambled eggs and tomatoes, varying the number of tomatoes and the amount of salt in each dish. Using the probe, the robot, quote, tasted the dishes in a grid-like fashion, returning a reading in just a few seconds. In order to imitate the change in texture caused by chewing, the team then put the egg mixture in a blender and had the robot test the dish again. The different readings produced taste maps of each dish. According to the study, there was a significant improvement in the ability of robots to assess saltiness over other electronic tasting methods. The probe is the best, Gonz, which are often time-consuming and only provide a single reading. Researchers say by imitating the human processes of chewing and tasting, robots will eventually be able to produce food humans.
What? You need to read that again, because it came off as sounding way more weird than it actually is.
They're going to be able to produce food humans. Robots will eventually be able to produce food humans will enjoy and could be tweaked according to individual tastes. Abdullali said, quote, when a robot is learning how to cook, like any other cook, it needs indications of how well it did. We want the robots to understand the concept of taste, which will make them better cooks. Yes.
I was just going to say, this whole thing presupposes that the robot will not be discouraged when, they're unable to properly flavor things, because I'm a horrible chef in the kitchen. And, this idea of tasting as you go and this idea of learning how to cook like any other cook needs indications of how well it did. I usually get the indication of how poorly I did. And it really encourages me not to cook. So what if these robots get negative reinforcement and we have robots on the street?
They can only take so much rejection, Gonz, before they turn.
Well, I'm looking out for the flippies with the mouth.
I mean, I think there's, what a flippy can't taste in a dish they're cooking?
Truth.
Love. Can't taste the love. Or poison, for that matter. So who knows what'll happen?
Well, you got to program it to have the ability to. Yeah, maybe that's the thing. We can make a canary eating robot.
So here's the threat. Here's the threat that I see here, Gonz. And that is that, Flippy, we love him. We hate him. We want to be his best friend. He's flirting with our spouses. It's
complicated, yeah.
A very complicated relationship with Flippy. Flippy, he does his job. He's got one job: flip the burgers. Flip the burgers, fry the fries. Flippy, he can do that. He's got his instructions. He follows instructions. What they're talking about doing is sort of introducing the creative aspect into the robot chef. So you're not talking about a burger flipping robot. You're talking about sort of a creative chef robot. A chef is different from a burger flipper. And with Flippy, Miso Robotics specifically, but robotics companies around the world, they're so keen on reminding us that these robots, they're not to replace us. It's a tool. It's a friend. It's a helper. He's there to do the grunt work in the kitchen, while the chef gets to do the art, to create, to improve the human experience. But with this new movement in the flippy arm cook thing industry, they are trying desperately to get rid of any need for a human being, even a human being to taste the recipe to make sure that it's good. Soon they're not even going to need a human to eat the meal after it's cooked. It'll just be a
goo that you can consume as just an economic sustenance.
It's an economic unit. Your flippy arm just cooks food for nobody. But you get the bill still. It comes out of your, universal basic income.
Who's got time to chew food?
Yeah.
Have the robots do it for you.
We've been telling you, don't trust these robot companies, or the robots for that matter, when they say we're not here to replace anybody's job. Humans will always have a place in the kitchen. It is an ancient, cooking really is one of the things that differentiates humans from other animals. No other animal cooks things. And so now,
I don't know, man. I've seen some monkeys.
Things soon. Some monkeys using a smoker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, there you go. Another step, one large step for robotic arms to replacing any humans in the kitchen. Love it.
Flippy 1133. Uploading binary code. Execute order 666. Infiltrate humans with extreme kindness. Then exterminate all humans with prejudice. Exterminate.
Go to CanaryCry.Party.
Party time.
Find the live stream, the clips, email lists, text notifications, street team posters, show notes, ways to connect with other Canarians and become a producer.
That's right. Go check it out. It's got everything you need. And what you'll notice on there is a new link to listen to Ravel, which is another podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, where we explore society, scripture, and scandal. Yes, scandal. And it's not your everyday Sunday morning podcast, folks. If that's what you're looking for, this ain't it. But if you're looking for tough conversations to be had in good faith, exploring lots of things that lots of other, solidly Christian podcasts don't explore, which is kind of I try not to do podcasts that already exist. So go check it out. I think it'll be, I almost choked. I think it'll be a nice addition to your podcast weekly, family. It's part of the Canary Cry family of products. Comes out every Sunday. Go check it out, baby. It's on CanaryCry.Party. While you're at it, follow the Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube and Odyssey. Clips of the show, shareable, careable segments are going up, especially now that right now, while we are banned from YouTube, those episodes are not on YouTube. So if you want to watch them on YouTube, they are coming up on the Clips channel. Just search Canary Cry Clips. And if you want to get text message alerts, for instance, when we are kicked off of YouTube and you don't know where to watch the show, text the word Canary to the number 877-740-3226. That's 877-740-3226. Texting the word Canary will sign you up to receive text messages from me 3 times a week, just to keep you posted. Okay, there you go. Do it.
Oh, wow. Why does this keep happening?
Zoned out, man.
No, it's not that. It's not that. This stuff moves around over here.
Mind-controlled weapons.
Ooh.
This is from BigThink.com. Dream hacking. Is this the dystopian future of advertising?
Can I save us some time? Yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes, yeah. Come with us, listener. We got some rabbit trails to go down. Now that our homes are littered with listening smart devices, not my home, but apparently everybody else's home. Is your home littered with listening
Alexas.
Smart devices? No.
No, the one thing that does listen to me, and I know it's true, is my TV.
Yeah.
Because I have this little device that I can see the activity on everything on my network. And I can see that my TV is listening to me all the time. So I've started unplugging it. I just leave it unplugged, which, believe it or not, also helps in that I turn the TV on much less. It's just sort of a
psychological thing.
It's a beautiful big black mirror just in my living room, just staring at
Black mirror. It's the portal.
Okay, so what's next?
Now that our homes are littered with listening smart devices and we are inseparable from our phones, it can seem like sleep is the only part of our lives that is off limits to marketers trying to influence us. But this blissful bedtime bastion may not hold out much longer. Last year, a team of 38 experts in the field of sleep and dreaming signed onto an opinion piece warning that dream advertising is on the way. It makes sense that marketers would seek to access our dreams. Warranted or not, dreams have special meaning for millions of people. Dreaming is when our brains can form strong associations. Quote, dreams are actual mechanisms that have evolved biologically to help us make critical decisions about how to lead our lives in the future. Robert Stickgold, a professor of
actual mechanisms. That's very interesting.
A professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, an expert in dream studies, and lead author of the opinion piece, told NPR. The American Marketing Association New York's 2021 Future of Marketing survey of 400 marketers from various U.S. firms found that 3/4 aim to deploy dream advertising technologies by 2025.
Deploy. 3/4 of them, that's 300 marketers. 300 firms, rather, full firms aim to have active dream advertising technologies in 3 years.
Yeah, this is why we're having the quote unquote great reset. People are playing musical chairs because this kind of stuff is coming right around the corner. But is this just typical marketing hype or a candid recognition of an approaching dystopian reality? Wow, big think, talking like Canarians. In the lab, scientists have already pioneered methods of altering the content of our dreams, albeit in a very basic way. In 2020, Adam Horowitz, a PhD student in the Fluid Interfaces group at MIT, used a novel device called Dormio to, quote-unquote, incubate subjects' dreams with basic ideas. The system,
I think we covered this.
We did. The system detects when a wearer enters hypnagogia, the transitional state of consciousness between wakefulness and sleep.
Then sleep paralysis happens.
Exactly. Then plays them specifically auditory stimuli with the aim of altering their dreams. And yes, that in-between state is where all kinds of stuff happens. When you can see things. I mean, I have personal experience. I know you have personal experience with that. And I think almost everybody has some kind of experience in that. Yeah.
So why not let the advertisers fill that space for us instead of...
It's as if they've been studying the phenomenon for decades. In Har's published study of Dormio, he and his co-authors successfully used the system to make subjects dream about trees.
Oh, good job.
Now, Dormio and quote-unquote trees are a long way from realizing fully formed dream advertising, perhaps the ultimate form of product placement. Still, the ubiquity of microphones in the bedroom raises a disturbing, albeit unlikely, possibility. Most of us have smart devices on our wrists or at our bedsides as we sleep. These easily could be used to subtly initiate dream advertising. Imagine waking up to your phone emitting the enticing sound of a carbonated beverage filling a cup and a faint voice whispering, Coca-Cola. The reason this is unlikely is because such messaging would constitute a blatant violation of consent and privacy. We were talking about that with the Roe v. Wade thing. And thus would be quickly squashed in courts when discovered. Interesting. Squashed in courts.
Although... They don't. I don't know if they get into it in this article, but you could easily see how an app, some app, you get the app, you have these sleep apps. There's plenty of sleep apps that track your sleep. You put your phone on your bed, tracks your movement, tracks your, your whatever. I don't know what they track. A lot of them record you, so you can kind of go back and hear if you're a sleep talker.
Right.
You can go back and hear what you talk about in your sleep. All it would take is for one of those user license agreement, one of those EULAs, like, hey, yeah, our app is free. It's really great. You're going to sleep better. You'll get all this data. You're going to love your data. But in return, you just got to consent to these nighttime advertisements, because these apps, they know exactly when you do move into the hypnagogic state, or at least, they can estimate it.
Yeah.
And it's total. I mean, this is not a future thing. Like, this could happen now.
It's probably already happening, and this is why they're starting to bring it to the public awareness here.
Right.
Ethics of dream
disclosure.
hacking. Yeah. Still, to prevent companies from even contemplating this sort of strategy, Stick Gold and Har insist policy steps should be taken soon. Quote, "We believe that proactive action and new protective policies are urgently needed to keep advertisers from manipulating one of the last refuges of our already beleaguered conscious and unconscious minds, our dreams," they wrote. After all, the same technologies, intimate implants and futuristic wearables that could be used for dream advertising could also be utilized for more noble aims.
Neuralink, anyone?
Exactly. Quote, "We envision that nightmare treatments, learning enhancements, overnight therapy, augmentation of creativity, and overcoming addiction are all within the realm of possibility." Har wrote with fellow researchers Patty Mays and Michelle Carr.
The classic justification.
Yeah,
This
people.
isn't for commercial reasons. This is to help people.
Yeah.
So let us do it, and we'll let Coca-Cola do whatever Coca-Cola does.
But first, scientists and technologists should adhere to some basic ethics. They say, do not incubate dreams without consent. That's the easiest one to get around. Click, don't read all the fine print. Just click here.
Yeah, consent being so easy to get around. Yeah.
Design tools that won't result in dependency. All right. And minimize impact on sleep quality. Oh, okay. So as long as you're sleeping well, hey, have at my brain dreams, baby.
Also, not no impact.
No, minimize.
Yeah.
Minimize. Yeah. So there you go. That's the story. And I appreciate producer Jam for, producer Jam sending us all kinds of links recently. So I appreciate that.
I've seen that. Let's consolidate them into one nice big email.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. And one of the links that was sent in by producer Jam was a wordstream.com article from 2021, 6 examples of subliminal advertising from spooky to not safe for work. And it goes through some history and some explanation of subliminal advertising, what it is, and, kind of what the subconscious is. And here's what it says. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to skip this because there was a whole thing that happened in the 50s where Coca-Cola got accused of putting subliminal messages in their advertisements. And the study was that claimed that apparently was bogus. Had been fabricated in its entirety, as its disgraced author James Vickery admitted years after its publication in an attempt to part advertisers from their money. So, yeah, it was actually
kind of like what George Soros is trying to do to Elon.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. The playbook doesn't change too much. Yeah. And they give some examples here. There was a game called Husker Du. The executive from Premium Core later admitted responsibility for the inclusion of frames, which the FCC investigated following viewer complaint, because spliced into their ad, I guess, was "get it," like one frame of "get it." Yeah. So subliminal stuff. So, there's examples of that. This one was funny. Marlboro was banned from advertising with with professional sporting organizations like Formula One. So they tried to get around it by changing their Marlboro logo, the red sort of triangle, white triangle on the bottom, red thing with the black letters Marlboro. They changed it into a barcode that kind of, so there's kind of like that association, and then they put it on the back of one of the Formula One cars, and then they got caught later for doing it.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, there's some, and then there's some ones that are not safe for work.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the whole advertising industry works on subtle manipulations,
right?
And it just depends on how subtle exactly they are.
Yeah, there's a KFC ad with a dollar bill in the lettuce, like a real subtle kind of thing going on. KFC following 11 accounts, 5 former of British 90s pop sensation Spice, and 6 guys named Herb, because Herb and Spice. Get it?
Okay, yeah. All right.
So anyway, those are some examples. But, this is kind of more of the fun, like, the advertising. They're innocent. They're trying things out.
Right.
But there's actually a much more disturbing origin. And, the one word that I want to zoom in on in this Big Think article, and we've talked about it before, is the word incubate. Because that concept is not new at all. In fact, it is extremely ancient. And again, thanks to producer Jam for sending in this document here. From dreamscience.ca, Dream Incubation, Ancient Techniques of Dream Influence. And this is a revised document from T. Nielsen in 1988, Ancient Methods of Dream Incubation, Bodily Methods of Inducing Spiritual Presence.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it talks about dream incubation. It goes into the history of it. And it goes all the way back to Egypt and Babylonia and, a lot of the Greek, ancient Greek and Rome picked up on it. But here, there was something interesting here. It says here on page 3, Greece, such as the binding of a body part in cloth to bring an image of the deity in close proximity to the supplicant, the epithet of Besa as protector against snakes is particularly noteworthy considering how central the symbol of the snake was in the later Greek healing cults. As the preferred manifestation of the incubated gods Asclepius, Trophonius, and Amapharius, others claim that incubation had an even earlier origin in Babylonian mysticism, since the Greek god Serapis, who was also widely associated with incubation, can be traced to the much earlier Babylonian god Ea, or Ea, of Eridu, often are also referred to as Sar Apsi. So Serapis, this Greek god Serapis. I wanted to check out, Serapis sounds familiar, because Serapis was a popular entity in the Roman Empire, often replacing Osiris as the consort of Isis in temples of Egypt. The name of the deity is derived from the syncretic worship of Osiris and the bull Apis as a single deity under the Egyptian name it's WSJR-HP. This name was later written in Coptic as Usurhapi. And so that's how you get Serapis. Was the most common form in ancient Greek until Roman times when Serapis became common. The earliest mention of a Serapis occurs in the disputed death scene of Alexander, 323 BC. Here, Serapis has a temple at Babylon and is of such importance that he alone is named as being consulted on behalf of the dying king. The presence of Serapis in Babylon would radically alter perceptions of the mythologies of this era. The unconnected Babylonian god Ea, or Enki, as was titled Sar Aspi, means king of the Apsu.
I think Enki is pronounced Ankh.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And perhaps he is the one meant in the diaries. His significance in the Hellenic psyche, due to its involvement in Alexander's death, may have also contributed to the choice of Osiris Apis as the chief Ptolemaic god. And there's a whole thing about how part of that whole Alexander thing had to do with the dream by an unknown god. So, I mean, this whole thing about dream incubation goes way back to ancient mysticism. Yeah. And, they're just deploying the tactics here, right now, and with all this technology available to us now. So, nothing changes. Nothing new under the sun.
And that's been that's been part of the pitch for the value for value model for forever, is that, wrapped up in the advertising industry is a bunch of occultists and occult ideas and motivations. And it goes even into this dream advertising space as well, that the incubation of dreams is a millennias old practice, and was a spiritual practice used in what some might call the mystery schools and the ancient religions and worship of the past. And so when I'm talking about the weird source of the advertising industry, where the inspirations come from, where the ideas for how to successfully manipulate our psychology isn't just science. It is also stems from ancient occult practices. Yeah. And there you go. That was a wonderful breakdown of it, Gonz.
Well, thanks. And if you think about in the ancient context, what they were doing is trying to conjure these gods and have these encounters with the gods in this sort of dream state. And so if you think about who the gods are, with these false gods, a lot of times in Babylon, and perhaps even the fallen entities themselves, who are the quote-unquote gods in this context of dream hacking?
Well, the corporations would love to play that role.
Would love to play the gods,
which is another kind of aspect of what we talk about, and what we'll talk about in a second in our break here, is that these corporations are not just corporations. They're also, can be described as principalities and powers. I mean, you think about the rulership of different areas over the earth, and maybe even geographical, but maybe even some more ethereal areas or locations, different parts of our minds, different parts of culture, what they mean, what power they hold, not just in the world of capital, but also over people's worldviews and intentions and their morals and their ethics. And you've seen these corporations more and more recently get more active in the culture war, and they're very effective control mechanisms. And I think there's a very clear connection between how these corporations are sort of manifesting themselves and acting in the world, and these spiritual principalities and powers that traditionally have had power over people, that it's even talked about in the Bible. And of course, those would be the ones that the magicians of advertising would want to have you come in contact with in your dreams, and have a much more impactful life experience with their brand as you dream about Coca-Cola, just helping you achieve some sort of flight or something in your dreams, which would create some sort of, I would say, a very strong spiritual connection with the brand.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the word, the Greek word for mark, it means brand, branding, but also a brand, literally like how we use a brand.
How you brand a cow.
Yeah. So, which is where the marketing term brand comes from, is the same concept. So this is, and dreams really, it really is sort of the window to the spiritual, and so if you get all these biohackers and a whole generation of kids, because if you think about these meditation apps and different apps that are out there to try to help you, and then we've been tracking the psychedelic movement of legitimizing certain substances in therapeutic purposes. I can picture somebody who's had PTSD or whatever take a little bit of the psilocybin, synthetic psilocybin pills, to help with some of that. And then also, go ahead, give me the full package. Give me the dream hack that helps me process my traumas and, the whole deal. So I can picture this.
And you can get it for free, Because it's sponsored by Coca-Cola in your dreams.
And it really speaks to the, Revelation 17, Revelation 18, merchants of the earth using sorcery to deceive the nations. Because that's exactly what this is. This is it. This thing we're talking about is really, I think it indicates, if we're on like the roadway or a highway to the end, the eschaton, that's it's a pretty big sign when it says, okay, dream hacking is here on a commercial level. I would say we're getting much closer. Who knows how long, Lord willing, but we're tapping into the spiritual access points, and at a more deliberate level. And so,
and I think it starts, it started a long time ago. But in terms of the technology and the technological infrastructure, the Alexas, the toaster that is also listening to you and streaming data,
records how many times you drink your milk or whatever, right? Yeah,
which can all be seen as also spiritual entry points into our lives. What we say in secret, what we eat, what we cook, all these things. My TV that's constantly, I don't know what it's doing, but I don't like it. You're going to stay unplugged, mister. These can be sort of technological analogs to the spiritual access points we have. And it's no different with these dream incubation advertisers. And we reported on I think it was a Budweiser campaign. It was a Budweiser dream advertising campaign where you could sign up to have Budweiser advertised to you. You play this little thing before you go to bed or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is interesting for a couple of reasons, because there's a lot of limits put on alcohol and tobacco companies for advertising.
Yeah. They've been part of the legal battles many times in the past. Yeah.
Right. There's lots of regulation on alcohol and tobacco advertising, but exactly what this guy's talking about in the article, there's no regulation on dream advertising right now. As far as dream advertising goes, all the companies that are regulated for, advertising alcohol and cigarettes to children, there's no regulation for them to not be advertising in your dreams, which was one of the funny parts about their Budweiser dream advertisements. I don't know. I'm not like a huge policy guy, regulation guy, but as far as something like this, somebody's got to think of it ahead of time, or else we're going to be in a whole lick of trouble someday.
Yeah, this is the implications, even with legislation, because part of the double-edged sword with any kind of legislation is it just brings attention to the topic, and then it drives extremes with it, right? So you're going to have people see how far they can push the boundaries, and then you're going to get your groups that are advocates for this type of thing, and the whole deal. It's the same model as everything else, political and everything. But I think it's always a good reminder.
It's a great reminder, and it's a great reason why we don't get all mixed up in advertising and corporate money, Gonz. That's why we're on the Value for Value, maybe, baby.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
That's right, folks. No advertisements, no affiliate codes, no partnerships, no dream incubation here. We're just on the value for value model. And podcasts are an especially ripe. They're an especially ripe medium for dream advertising because people listen to them as they fall asleep. People put this show on before sleep.
One of the things I remember when we did our conference, people came up to us and, I was listening to you while, going to sleep every night. And it was like, it was kind of weird, it's
that'd be funny. They'd be like, don't take this the wrong way, but I play your show every night before I go to sleep. I'm like, okay, I don't know, whatever works for you. And that's, when you talk about the infiltration of podcasting, and look, people who have just gotten into podcasting, listening to them, understanding what it is. I mean, for the majority of our career, Gonz, nobody knew really what a podcast was. You know, people would ask, and we're like, oh, it's like radio on the internet or whatever. But nobody really listened to podcasting until recently, until it became like a mainstream industry. And once it became a mainstream industry, the advertisers were very excited to get involved, not only because people build sort of long-term trusted relationships with their podcasters, but they also listen to them while they fall asleep. And that's an excellent, I mean, there's no better ad dollars spent than on a podcast that people listen to while they sleep or as they're going to sleep. And so, you know, that's another reason why we don't get mixed up with the advertising industry, where they incentivize Gonz and I to consider you, dear listener, as a commodity to be packaged up. Your trust, your attention, everything that you devote to this show is not being turned around and sold for our personal gain. It's something we committed to long ago. It's not a very stable way to do this, but the Lord and our producers have provided. And that's the fact of the matter. It's the value for value model. If you get value out of what we do, and when I say get value, do you get value out of the fact that we're not selling your attention to Coca-Cola or, you know, whatever? Is that valuable to you? There's lots of ways to consider this value. And if you do get value, we recommend and hope that you turn around and put some value back into the system. It's the only way value for value works. And it can, you know, you can put value in lots of different ways with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Some people choose to put some value back in with their fiat currency or their cryptocurrency or their whatever currency, and we're very grateful for that, because it's the only way that we're able to pay the bills to keep the show going, as well as, you know, keep Gonz and I's families and cats alive and babies and things. So we're very grateful for them. And those people who put value back into the show, they are called producers. Not because it's a fun gimmick or whatever. It's just how real life works. If you pay to have a piece of media produced, you're a producer. And we're going to thank some of them now. You can do so by heading to patreon.com/CCNT or CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
That's right. CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. You've got all sorts of options there. You can support the show with your cryptocurrency if you're into that thing. You can support the show on a monthly basis. If you're continually getting value out of the show, why don't you please consider, you know, making a commitment, a monthly commitment to put value back into the show. Our monthly producers really, really save our butts in times where producership is low. But if commitment is not your thing, you can go ahead and make a one-time producership in any amount. And we're going to start out, Gonz, by thanking our executive producer for today.
Executive producers.
That's right. You know her, you love her. She's our executive producer. That is executive producer Maureen M.
Thank you, Maureen M., for being our executive producer.
Yes. And again, the executive producers, oh man, do they save our butts sometimes? Because if it's not for an executive producer, you know, sometimes it's just the days are the days are long.
The days are long, and the nights are long.
And the nights are long.
Dad, don't worry about me and my dream hacking, because I'm not sleeping.
That's right. Yeah. They can't advertise in your dreams, Gonz, if you don't sleep.
I know.
All right. Executive producer Maureen M. comes in with $333.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, really, really saved the day. Thank you very much, Maureen M. And sent in a note here. May the 4th be with you, Maureen says. God bless you today and always. Thank you both, Googly Eyes and Cabana Boy, for keeping us all informed with grace and humor. Love to all the Canarians. Can I get a Basil dinosaur roar? If not, a COVID-19. God bless.
Right.
Fun fact. I think she wants fun facts and COVID-19.
Oh, I was hoping you would just bust it out. But okay, I think we need an updated Velociraptor. Oh, hey, Velociraptor. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I was hoping to
think
keep
she
going.
wants the jingle though.
Okay,
She wants the jingle.
All right, hold on. I gotta.
I'll do a roar while you find it.
Okay. We'll play the whole thing. It's only a minute.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
Where'd you find this?
Yeah, we'll play the whole thing. She's our only executive producer for the day, so she gets the whole thing. Thank you very much, Marina.
All right, thank you, Marina.
All right, let me tell you about the supply drop.
Oh, wait, you want to tell come on, move, Shilzilla. All right, here we go.
Oh, it's so quiet. There we go. CanaryCry.Supply.com. Go check it out, folks. These are the producers. If you want to become one of the producers who support the show for $33 a month, you will automatically start receiving the Canary Cry supply drop. The first supply drop just dropped on porches and front steps and stoops all over the world this last week, and people are stoked, and I'm so stoked as well. These supply droppers are a huge reason why we are able to survive when producership is low and financial things are uncertain in the world. These supply drops are chock-a-block full of special edition, custom created items surrounding the themes and the culture of Canary Cry News Talk, produced by your producers, art by your artists, fictions by your microfictionists, and all lovingly crafted here in the United States. And we're working on the next one. You're going to be so stoked. And if you sign up over at CanaryCry.Supply.com right now, you will receive an immediate free gift. If you missed the first supply drop, that's okay. You will get the Canary Cry Multidimensional Communications Field Guide. It's an ARG podcast companion game, and you didn't miss it. You can still get in. Just go sign up for the supply drop now.
Oh, by the way, the NFT tutorial is ready. I gotta get somebody to walk through it one time just to double check and make sure I'm, didn't mess it up too bad.
We'll do that. Okay, we got some producers who can do that for us. Great. We'll test it out.
Yep.
And that's another good reason to sign up for the supply drop. You'll get digital assets as well. You'll get an NFT lesson from Gonz, but you're going to need to sign up in the next day or two if you want to get that, because that's going to be going out soon, and you got to be signed up before it goes out to get it. So go sign up, CanaryCry.Supply.com. We're waiting for it.
Yeah, you are.
Waiting for supply drop.
All right, we got a little handful of producers here to thank, and they are so faithful, and we're so happy for their continued support. It's pretty much all streakers from here on out.
All right.
Yeah, so let's get it started. We're getting started with a very special streaker, Gonz. This is Sir JC, Knight of the Techno Squatch, and today is his 100th episode in a row. Yes. That's right. Bruh. You did it, Sir JC.
Sir JC.
One of the top streakers here made it to his 100th episode in a row, and to celebrate the occasion, Sir JC comes in with 3333. Illuminatus.
Oh, come on. Why Illuminatus? Go off.
Oh, no.
Stream
it's
Deck.
happening.
What's going on?
It's happening. It's been so good for so many episodes.
It's been so good. Hold on. Let me see if there's a issue here. I'm getting spinning wheel of death on the computer, and
that's
no
bad.
reaction from the Stream Deck itself. Whoa.
Uh-oh, this is bad. Oh, we've got to.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you so much.
It all
Got
came
a
at
cyber
once.
pandemic on our hands. Yeah.
It's okay. It was
Thank
all
you.
the proper jingles. It just all kind of happened simultaneously.
Yeah, it was very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sir JC. He has a note here, so keep your trigger finger ready, Gonz. The day has come. All the Wednesday jingles, please.
Every single one.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
Oh, good. All the Wednesday. You know, it's his 100th episode supporting in a row, so we're happy to give it to you, Sir JC. His note continues, here's to 100 episode streak and 100 more. Love you guys and the entire Canarium, Ravel, Joyspiracy, CCR, Face Like the Sun. Y'all are truly a blessing. Thank you, Sir JC. You are also truly a blessing.
Yes.
Wow, yeah, he's partaking in the entire Canary Cry family of products here.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank
Okay,
you, Sir
next
JC.
up.
Congrats.
That's right. Indeed. Congrats. You've joined the League of 100. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 5.
Wow,
But
an elite
they
group.
they are an elite group,
Yes.
that's for sure. But coming up on 100, we've got producer Morv on an 86 episode streak. That's right. Comes in with the 1111 and a note, and you know what it says. It is Wednesday, my dude.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
Praising God for my little nephew that was born into the world this morning.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. It is a Wednesday.
It
WMD. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Happy birthday, little nephew. Oh, Wednesday's
Literal
a good day to be
birthday.
born. Yeah. Mama and baby are doing great. God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. Thank you very much, Producer Moore.
Thank you, Morv.
Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations.
Next up, we've got producer Runk Smash on a 31 episode streak.
Runk Smash.
Comes in with the pocket full of sevens here, and he says, hey, Basil and Gonz, I have an urgent prayer request. Let's call the Pray-ducers.
Producers, assemble!
That's right. The Pray-ducers are Canarians all over the world who are committed to praying for, well, the show, the Canarians, the everybody. But when there's an urgent prayer request, of course, listen up, Pray-ducers. An old friend, James, is heading to a VA hospital to try to get admitted for serious mental health issues. Please pray for him to get help and Jesus to comfort and heal him. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. There you go. We're praying for James, who's trying to get help for mental health issues. We'll certainly be praying for clarity and strength, and that the system, the VA system, can really help him out, because we know that needs prayer sometimes for that system to do what it's meant to do.
Yeah.
I'm seeing here, Gonz, was there a Doge that came in? Is Runk Smash also a crypto producer?
Well, Runk Smash is normally the one that comes in with this amount of Doge. So did you actually see
That was a PayPal. Yeah,
Okay,
he came in on a
interesting.
PayPal. So we have a
somebody
different
came
Doge
in-
producer.
Yeah, somebody came in with about 777. It's
Okay, well, let's give-
58.46 Doge. So yeah,
And
okay.
we didn't get a note
I
or
didn't see
anything from
anything.
anybody.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
Okay, well, why don't we just call him anonymous crypto producer?
Is this a crypto? Do I look like I know what a crypto is?
Thank you, anonymous.
Cloud Serial is saying that is from Cloud Serial.
Oh, there you go.
They said they had a note on it.
Oh, they did?
There a note.
Hold on, let
He
me
put notes on the blockchain on
could-
Doge.
let me see if there's a
How do we
signature.
find that? I'm not sure
Hold
how
on,
we find that.
I
Cloud
got it.
Serial, if
I'm
you could-
trying to look at it here. Let's see.
Okay.
The dogechain.info. Let me see if there's something in this transaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
A note has been put on the blockchain in support of Canary Cry News Talk. Let's see
all right,
what it
let's
says as
see.
Gonz hacks the mainframe.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get to it, but here we go. Let's see. We got the confirmed transaction. We got the from address.
Checking the blockchain.
To
We're
address.
in the web.
Previous transaction.
Hacker Cabana
Peered
Boy.
and block. Let's see. Is it,
Surfing the web.
raw transaction.
Blockchain.
Yeah, the Doge doesn't look like it. Wasn't Doge wasn't it a clone of Litecoin? It's not
I
the
don't
same
know.
kind of
Cloud, can you copy and paste your message into
I don't know that I can
an email, please?
get to this right now.
I've never done it. I believe that it is possible, and I believe
No,
that
it's
Cloud
possible.
did
It's
it.
definitely possible, and I also believe that Cloud did it. I just don't. I've
Right.
never checked it. I know how to do it on the Bitcoin blockchain. I've never tried it on
On the
Doge.
Doge. Do we need to
Yeah.
Google this? Should we do like a segment, a let's learn how to blockchain segment in the show here?
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I think that Cloud heard me when I said they should just send it in. I said, oh, Cloud is saying it had an option to leave a note, but don't worry about it now. Okay, well, we will figure out how to get that note, and we'll worry about it later.
It's not happening over
Cool
here.
how to do that.
Error.
Jeez.
Error.
We call ourselves cool crypto kids. That's not.
Well, I
that's
was
a
never a
crypto
Doge
fail.
fan, so you know. But I respect Doge. I suppose people that are
Gonz,
real humans
don't try
are
to
Doge.
defend yourself. Don't try to defend yourself. Thank you, Cloud Serial, for the Doge.
Appreciate
We're going
it.
to need that to advertise on Twitter soon. Next up, we've got Producer Bot LX Protocol V2 on a 27 episode streak.
Oh, 27. Which means LX Protocol V2 is a firmament buster.
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday
someone
Gotta
will.
get some
trap music behind
I know.
I know. Thank you very much, LX Protocol V2, for the 777 plus fees. And that's it. That concludes our list of producers who came in for 777 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We've got a few more people to thank on the lower end of that, and let's do that now. Starting with Jackie U on a 56 episode streak.
Thank you, Jackie U.
Uh-huh.
Hold on. What's going on?
Oh,
where's
I
her
don't
streak? Okay, let's try that again. Jackie U.
Yay.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule.
There we go.
There we go. Next up, we've got he's the streak. We got Sir Scott Knight of Truth on a 141 episode streak.
Oh gosh, it's doing, man, today. I'm telling you, today.
Nothing.
Last thing.
Yeah, sounds like your computer is as off as we are today. Next, we've got the streak, Circassian the Shield Knight, with 151 episodes in a row.
Boogity boogity.
Then we got Gail M, the Streak Sisters. Gail M and Veronica D, both on 116 episode streaks.
116. Wait, what am I having here? Oh my gosh. What is this like? You know,
gosh.
I did get a new external drive, and I'm wondering if it's messing with.
Are you running off of it right now?
Some things, yes, but not everything. But I don't know why, but this is causing my other drive to slow down significantly. Because
that is the only thing that's changed.
Yeah, here, let's see. There you go.
Women rule. Thank you so much.
There we are.
There we
Thanks,
go.
Gail. And then, you
Thank
mentioned
you,
Veronica
Streak
D?
Sisters. Yeah, I was just doing them together.
Okay, let me just...
Women rule. Thank you so much.
Just make it official there. You know. Yeah.
Thank you, Streak Sisters. Last but not least, we got Sir James, Knight and Servant of the Lion of Judah on 83 episode streak. There we go. Okay, that is it. That concludes the list of financial producers for this show. Short list, but that's okay. We somehow managed to stretch this whole thing out by trying to check the blockchain and things. But thank you guys so much for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message. Go to CanaryCry.Newstalk.com. There's a green tab. Click on the green tab. There will be another button. Click on the button, and you can leave us a voice message. You are giving us permission to play this voice message by leaving it, but it is not guaranteed. Gonz, do we have any voice messages today?
We have one from Rochelle. Oh my gosh, what is it? It's doing it again. Okay.
Hello, Canarians. I was listening to this podcast with a man-child and a pastor, and they were unsure of why Jesus kept telling everyone to keep his identity a secret. So I just wanted to share some of my thoughts. In Daniel, the exact day for the Jewish or Hebrew people to expect their Messiah was prophesied. That's why Jesus scolded them, because they did not know the day of their visitation. Jesus waited until what we would think of as Palm Sunday to make his identity known to the public. That's why it was kind of a big deal, I think, when his mama asked him for a miracle early. You know, you remember the whole water into wine thing. So that's just some thoughts. Anyway, I also want to say thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. And Psalm 40, I'm thinking of doing a little something for you. Have a great day. Stay strong for Jesus.
Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Thank you, Rochelle.
Yeah, so she's referring to the podcast, the Ravel, I believe. So if you want to know more about that whole conversation, go listen to Ravel.
There you go.
Okay. Is that it? Those are all the ones.
That was it. Yeah, I think we only had one.
My nose is starting to get stuffed up again, and I forgot to bring in my nasal spray. But let's see how far I can make it. All right, let's wake up.
Oh, we're waking up. Okay. All right, here we go.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
We don't need to say bye to YouTubers because we're not there today. So, yeah, COVID. Here we go.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, 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 yes. COVID-19, COVID-19, coronavirus.
Vaccine, number one way.
Okay, not a whole lot of crazy COVID news, but as has been the trend over the past, maybe 5 months, it is disclosure after disclosure after disclosure about how the quote-unquote conspiracy theorists were right all along. Now, we're going to take a clip that was we've been following Bill Gates's PR campaign back into the public light, trying to answer for his crimes and misdeeds, from Epstein to his divorce to this to that. But he did have a comment regarding the pandemic. So let's listen in on that.
Yeah, this is on Good Morning Today, a sit-down interview, Bill Gates in studio, and here he is talking about COVID lethality.
In some ways, we were lucky with this pandemic. It certainly could have been a more contagious virus, and it could have been more lethal.
Yeah, the lethality, ends up being about 0.3%. Smallpox is 30%. So this is not the worst case. All the more reason to make these investments in preparedness.
There you go.
3% straight out of Bill Gates' mouth. I mean, we've been saying under 1% for a long time, and I think 0.3% is even high.
We were getting kicked off of YouTube for saying that the fatality rate was under 1%.
Right.
Now, of course, even this number that Bill is giving here is high compared to what the numbers actually turn out to be, which is under 0.1%. Under 0.1%, but fine, we'll take 0.3, Bill. That's whatever. I mean, that's the Bill Gates number, so even that's too high. But that's okay. So there you go. Admission that this really wasn't that big of a deal, straight from Bill Gates' mouth. And this brings me in to an article. This is on MSN.
There's one more Bill Gates clip.
Okay, sure.
This is about the future of the investment opportunity in the preparing for a pandemic phase and what kinds of things you can invest in.
I think they support the innovation where we got the vaccine out faster than ever before, and that has saved millions of lives. Even that vaccine, we can make a better one where you never get infected.
Can you?
Innovation, like in many areas, is where I see a potential for a consensus and for avoiding most of the damage.
Well, number one, why do we need consensus? It's just because you want to roll out your thing. But number
consensus is not science.
No, it's not. But number two, admitting that the better as we better the vaccines, maybe we'll even have vaccines where you don't get reinfected. It's like,
oh, you mean like what you said about the first vaccine?
You've been saying that for a long time. He's
just talking there. Yeah,
there you go.
Okay, so he's making some comments. There you go. The lethality was not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. So we have here MSN.com. This is mirroring from the Daily Caller, which I think is a signal that the Daily Caller has just straight up been accepted into the mainstream news apparatus.
Everybody loves waffles, man. It works.
Daily Caller being Ben Shapiro's outfit there, and we've discussed and deconstructed how they are just as integrally hooked in with the messaging and the advertising, driven by the advertising industry and the political uses. Not even just you'd expect conservatives, but they have done stories that only benefit Democrats more than anything.
Yeah, no, this is a the Daily Caller being mirrored on MSN is a massive indicator of where the public mainstream narrative is headed.
People would consider Shapiro, an independent news person. It's not true. It's not independent from what? Because right now he is independent from literally nothing that any other corporate news entity would be. So this is the headline. The FDA finally admits we should treat COVID-19 like the flu. Top officials at the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, wrote Monday that going forward, Americans will have to accept COVID-19 as another respiratory virus like influenza. FDA Commissioner Robert Califf, Principal Deputy Commissioner Janet Woodcock, and the agency's top vaccine official, Dr. Peter Marks, wrote that COVID-19... Peter Marks of the Beast, wrote that COVID-19 will be in circulation for the foreseeable future and must be accepted as another common virus in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Like with influenza, this new reality will likely require annual COVID-19 shots to be tailored around the most threatening strains of the virus, the official wrote. Quote, widespread vaccine and infection-induced immunity combined with the availability of effective therapeutics could blunt the effects of future outbreaks. Nonetheless, it is time to accept that the presence of SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, is the new normal, the official wrote. It will likely circulate globally for the foreseeable future, taking its place alongside other common respiratory viruses such as influenza. And it likely will require similar annual consideration for vaccine composition updates in consultation with the FDA. Oh, so the business of yearly vaccines and the FDA's role and profiteering from such industry will just have to go on forever. Gonz, weird. That is exactly what the conspiracy theorists were saying from the beginning. In the earliest days of the pandemic, some elected officials and commentators attempted to equate COVID-19 to the flu.
Did I lose you, or did you mute yourself? I think we lost you for a second.
No, you lost me for a second?
For just a moment.
Yeah. Well, the rest of it's almost finished here. But again, on the topic of the Daily Caller becoming just another corporate news entity, this last paragraph really does it. In the earliest days of the pandemic, some elected officials and commentators attempted to equate COVID-19 to the flu, but the coronavirus pandemic turned out to be far deadlier, killing nearly 1 million Americans. Not really the way that should be said, Daily Caller, Ben Shapiro, but okay.
It's an actual virus, everybody. Killed 1 million people. Sorry, that's my poor Ben Shapiro.
I mean, nearly 1 million people died with COVID-19, not of
maybe
COVID-19. Maybe with, right. That number's disputed. However, since the vaccines for the virus became widely available last year, the threat of mortality from COVID-19 has trended closer to seasonal influenza, although the former has been far more contagious. Okay, so since the vaccines, not since Omicron, the almost non-lethal strain Omicron. No, it's because of the vaccines. Thank you, Daily Caller. For saying the exact thing that you're supposed to be saying.
Daily Caller, with Ben Shapiro being pro-vaccine, he's been the perfect guy to really put on the pedestal because he's a conservative, he leans right, but he's pro-vaccine, so
he takes the hate. He gets kicked off of college campuses.
Right. He's really the perfect guy.
He has this wonderful sort of veneer of anti-establishment, whereas he's not anti-establishment at all. So yeah, there you go. Okay, COVID's the flu. Oh, well, it always has been, but I mean, Shapiro says because of the vaccine, but the numbers have always said that since the beginning. But okay, there you go. FDA finally admits it. Now, along these same lines here, in this new normal of ours, Gonz, I found just such a delightful article over here on HuffPost that I would like to bring to you. And remember, think about this in the context of, COVID-19 is not the super deadly thing. Bill Gates said it's not this thing that we thought it was going to be, or rather told you it was over and over, and demonized anybody who said anything otherwise. And here's this article headlined, "What should you do if someone confronts you about wearing a mask?" A question that mask skeptics have been asking themselves for years. People who don't prefer to wear masks have been asking the question, what should you do if someone confronts you about wearing a mask? Gonz, HuffPost is here to help.
Yeah, I just remembered, and we did mention in the last episode, but I wanted to make this point about Bill Gates before we dive in, is that the data collection with the questions earlier on, that could have been the influence behind admitting on camera the low number of deaths or the lethality of COVID, and also the reality about the vaccines. Some of that data collection with the questions that you can send in may have influenced that. So anyway, I know people know that.
Yeah, the data was in. The data was in. Nobody was buying it, and so he gets to be a good guy by coming out and telling the truth.
Right. Or more truthish. Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry.
Okay.
Continue.
So here we go. What should you do if someone confronts you about wearing a mask, Gonz, from the Huffington Post?
Like if I'm wearing a mask and...
Yeah, let's see what happens. Karen Gusoff-Sumpton, a writer who lives in the Seattle area, estimates about half the people in her neighborhood are still wearing masks. That group includes Gusoff-Sumpton and her husband.
Sumption? T-I-O-N?
I don't know.
Anyway,
who cares? They both have chronic health conditions and take immunosuppressant medications. So they're in no rush to remove their face coverings.
Okay.
Not everyone is so understanding.
Mm-hmm.
About a month ago, Gusoff-Sumption was filling up her gas tank in South Seattle when a man on the opposite side of the pump shouted something at her. Quote, "I didn't catch what he was saying at first, but then when I realized he was talking to me, I listened," the writer told HuffPost. Hey, listened. As he gestured at her face, eventually Gusoff-Sumption made out his words, quote, "Mask mandate is over. You can breathe free." Quote, "I just shook my head and kept pumping my gas, but he kept talking and all I caught were snatches, to be honest." What?
Okay.
Just caught snatches. Okay,
Snippets
she said.
Is what
it was what I would have said, but snatches. Quote, "But it was obvious that he was trying to explain to me, like I was a child, I'm 49, that Omicron was not as contagious and didn't have to live my life in fear. I don't think you actually listened to him, but okay." He wasn't necessarily...
I like how they're admitting that, kind of only heard half of it, but
wasn't really listening. Didn't really.
Hey, well, how dare you say?
I think he was saying
stuff
that Omicron was not as contagious, which is great because we know that it is more contagious.
That was the narrative. That's what we were told.
The man was probably saying Omicron is not as deadly, but as she recounts the story, got to make him sound like an idiot. He wasn't necessarily being nasty about the mask. Oh, great. But the comments were unsolicited, and Gusoff-Sumption felt infantilized and more than a little annoyed because of it. She said she's not generally quick on her toes with comebacks or responses, but this time was different.
Okay, what happened?
I raised my palm and announced, "Unsubscribe," Gusoff-Sumption said. He just fell out. He then finally backed off and said something like, "Fair enough. Unsubscribe, Gonz." That's our new thing.
I think we unsubscribed from culture
Unsubscribe.
a while ago.
Unsubscribe from masks, Gonz. Okay. So it was a well-played use of internet slang. We get a little bit of self-praise here for the genius.
They're trying to get this. They're trying to get this going on the streets.
Well
Perfect
played. Yes, use of slang.
Rally time.
An increasingly and uncomfortably relatable experience on the whole. What? As we enter the mask optional phase of the pandemic, comments like, "You know you don't have to wear that in here," are more and more common. Oh no.
We have a pandemic of mask options.
Oh, the horror of being given an option to hide my face. Masks have been a political hot topic throughout the country since the start of the pandemic, leading to vocal opposition and sometimes even physical confrontation. As mask mandates have lifted throughout the United States in the past few months, many people who continue to wear a facial covering. This is weird. Why?
Yeah.
The mask mandates are lifted.
Mask, facial
But those
covering.
who continue to wear them, their facial coverings, are concerned their choice may lead to a confrontation. Oh, you mean how the choice to not wear a mask before would lead to a confrontation, getting kicked off the
double
plane,
standard there,
getting wrestled to the ground, getting kicked out of whatever, literally anything.
Yeah.
Quote, mask harassment, as it's been dubbed. When it's someone not wearing a mask being harassed, it's sort of a virtue type of thing. But if you're getting harassed for wearing a mask, it's mask harassment.
That's
March,
hard to
example,
say. Mask harassment.
Yeah, mask harassment. In March, for example, a video showing Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis telling students at a high school to remove their masks and stop the COVID theater went viral. End of paragraph. They don't say anything about that. They were just saying mask harassment.
It's an example of mask harassment right there. Governor DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis
engaging in harassment.
Students.
Yeah.
Those kids were so happy to take off their masks. And this person says that they were being harassed. Encounters like these are snide, though often civil enough, but some people have been downright hostile over others wearing masks. In April, novelist Elaine Chu, I don't know how to say it, I'm sorry, Elaine C. Chu tweeted about a troubling experience she had one night in her neighborhood in New York City. So this is a tweet, Gonz. Walking home just now, 3 men yelled, "Coronavirus is over," at me because I was wearing a mask and then proceeded to make Chinese sounds. Chu wrote. Chinese sounds, Gonzo.
Hey, hold on one second. I got to deal with the child here.
Oh, you've got things going on. Okay. Throughout the pandemic, Asian Americans have dealt with aggressive harassment and even physical assault, regardless of whether they were wearing a mask, because of the coronavirus's likely origins in Wuhan, China. Quote, what hurts even more is, as I turned around to stare at them, they were laughing while they walked away, Chu wrote in the Twitter thread.
All right, what's happening to the Asians? I heard something about Asians being harassed.
Let me start over. Yes, walking home. This is a tweet from Chu.
Okay.
Walking home just now, 3 men yelled, "Coronavirus is over," at me because I was wearing a mask and then proceeded to make Chinese sounds.
Okay.
Chinese sounds.
Like what? Ching chong? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Quote, what hurts? Look, I'm not going to say that this didn't happen.
Yeah, but what's that have to do with it? Like, I understand that, like, that's okay. Yeah, sure. That's happened to me in different contexts. It wasn't because I was wearing a mask.
Yeah, who knows? And they connected to the Wuhan thing. Quote, what hurts even more is as I turned around to stare at them, they were laughing while they walked away. Would it have hurt less if they were walking towards you and grimacing versus walking away and laughing? Quote, they looked like they were going out for the night. They're probably having a great time as we speak. They have certainly forgotten me.
Oh, woe is me. This is a problem with Asians.
That's the painful. What that hurts the most is that they're not obsessing over her.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, she wrote, I am crying, triggered by all the other times people have shouted at me in public for no reason when I was minding my own business and just existing. Man, it does sound like a hard life. Why do so many people feel compelled to call out mask usage? Oh, I don't know. HuffPost? Why? Why would we feel compelled to call out mask usage?
Okay.
During the pandemic, mask wearing was the norm and the expectation. Now that we're tentatively entering the endemic phase of the virus, face coverings are mostly optional, which only makes them more of a loaded topic, said Monica Gandhi, a doctor and professor of medicine and infectious disease at the University of California, San Francisco. Quote, that's because the face mask has been the most visible sign of the pandemic. And here it gets into it. The face mask being the most visible sign. Remember, the face mask being written in the New England Journal of Medicine as a talisman, a symbol of the pandemic. If you've long accepted that and are eager to move on to the endemic phase of this virus, a mask is an unsettling visual reminder that we may not be out of the woods yet. Quote, that's when you get people feeling compelled to comment or feeling affronted by others wearing masks. Gandhi said, quote, the reality is we should all be respectful of each other's risk tolerance and choices. Oh, what a delightful attitude that they have around masks now.
Yeah,
now we should all be respectful of each other's risk tolerance and choices.
That goes the other way too, by the way. Even during the thick of the pandemic, so to speak, if you weren't wearing a mask, you should have been respected because of the risk tolerance. So anyway, some people are more risk averse. Hey, don't wear a mask.
So what we have here is a beautiful reaping what you've sown. HuffPost and HuffPost readers and HuffPost types. You created a tradition of harassing people about masks, and now that the tides have turned, you are the ones being harassed, and you don't like it. You don't like how it feels. The media created a culture where it was okay to pester someone, harass them about their risk tolerance and choices. And now that it goes the other way, it's a victimhood, sort of virtue signaling, point getting thing. You get victim points for wearing a mask and having people to say, oh, it's optional. You don't have to do that. Oh, how dare you don't respect my risk tolerance. And it's, it gets even cringier from here. I don't need to read it, but then they go through and they give you advice, like how
I see this.
How to do it. And it's really cringy and horrible.
Explain yourself.
You don't need to explain yourself. You're not obligated. You can just say, I'm not interested in talking about masks. Using a direct, assertive, respectful tone will give you the best chance of getting your point across without escalating this situation. Keep it simple. Say something like, I don't really feel like talking about masks, and then end the conversation.
Oh, I love this. So, it's kind of walking you through how you should respond and all this kind of stuff. And it says, your script doesn't have to be too complicated. A simple thanks, but I feel more comfortable this way. Works fine here, says Ashley Virtue. Ashley Virtue? The External Relations Director? Oh, she did? Is this a real thing?
No,
okay, I was like, whoa, she's really committed to that virtue signaling thing by literally changing her name to Virtue.
Signaling.
Ashley Virtue, that cannot be a real name. The External Relations Director at the National Conflict Resolution Center.
Exactly. And that's where a lot of this is coming from. It's coming from conflict resolution people. Here's another example. Here's another thing you can do. Or just tell the person, listen to this. Imagine saying this as a non-masked person a year ago, okay? Using these lines as a non-masked person in 2021. Or just tell the person, my assessment is that I am safer and my loved ones are safer if I wear a mask in this setting. Your assessment may be different for you, he explained. Excuse me, sir. You can't be on this plane without a mask. You got to wear your mask or else I'll punch you in the face and drag you off in front of everybody. Put on a mask. I'm sorry. My assessment is that I'm safer. My loved ones are safer if I don't wear a mask in this setting. Your assessment may be different for you. Punch, drag, handcuffs,
taken out.
Off the plane. You're on BuzzFeed.
You're on BuzzFeed.
A video of it is on Twitter.
It's viral.
You lose your job.
Yeah.
You go viral. It's horrible experience. Yeah, okay, cool. Anyways, that's it. This was more of just like a I don't know. It felt good to me, and I'm not saying that that's okay. I recognize that is a petty. I'm being petty here.
Your testosterone,
and I will work on that. Yes,
That's
I don't need to be petty. I get nothing out of this, but it feels good to see that you're needing to get the National Conflict Resolution Center involved in teaching people how to have the exact same experience that non-maskers had for 2 years, and we're getting not just harassed, but going viral, getting articles written about them, having videos posted all over BuzzFeed and Twitter, and being used as a culture war example. It's just a nightmare. But no, now these poor HuffPost readers who are wearing their masks, they just don't know how to handle the confrontation.
It's interesting because I feel like this sort of group of people that are really, word for word following these sort of mainstream outlets, it was a small number originally, and I think it's a small number now, but it feels like they had to double down. Because otherwise they would lose their audience. So it literally was compromise. It was like, okay, well, we're going to have to like really lean into this other narrative. And that's not where the world is going, but we have to do it because we got to retain readers.
And look at the postmodernism in here, the postmodern influence. When it's science to wear a mask, then it's science. Right. But the science for the mask isn't there, so they result to postmodernism. This is my truth. Right. This is my assessment. Wearing this mask is my truth.
Yeah, they have
and
to.
I'll just read.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just read the last section of this, and it really says a lot.
Okay.
Quote: "Get comfortable saying I don't have to wear a mask, but I get to do so to keep others safe," he said. And here's the kicker. "It may fly over the head of some people, but for those who get it, it may help shift their thinking, even if it's just a little bit. Oh, you don't have to wear a mask. You get to wear a mask." And those people who don't get it, they're just idiots. They don't understand that you have the privilege of wearing a mask. They don't even have masks in developing countries. They couldn't wear a mask if they want to. This is my privilege to wear a mask. And so I get to, and I'm gonna do it. Okay, cool, Huffington Post. Cool, cool, cool. Really cool news outfit you have here. I'm done.
Okay, good. Yeah, I had some point there somewhere, but I forgot. Got lost in your words.
I'm sorry.
Just
yeah,
carry
it is
me
what
right
it
out
is.
of those little pockets.
It's just bizarre. Again, going back to the upside down world, the backwards clown world that we live in. It's just madness to see to what great lengths certain people and certain outlets are going to try their hardest to find a soft landing to the completely inappropriate culture war madness that they created in our culture. They created the abusive, hostile environment that we live in, and they are so desperate to find a way to not be seen as responsible for that. And this article is an example of that. And it's really disturbing to me that they're getting away with it.
Yeah. Well, to your point about leaning into postmodernism as the backbone of an argument to maintain this level of whatever, the logic to do it.
Yeah.
Postmodernism in the realm of like philosophical debate and like scholarly debates, I mean, this is my personal opinion. I've watched a lot of debates over the years with this as a topic. My assessment has been absolutely obliterated.
Destroyed.
I mean,
it does not hold up to intellectual scrutiny whatsoever.
So bad. And you've had really prestigious people on stage just get shredded by Christian apologists and philosophers and stuff that are like poking holes.
Or even like Jordan Peterson types.
Jordan Peterson, sure. Yeah, he was big on that. Popularizing the concept.
Not just Christians, but there is.
Yes.
It's just anyone with an intellectual moral framework has no problem destroying postmodernism as a moral framework, as a moral way to set up society.
Yeah. All right.
Gonz,
speaking of setting up society, go ahead.
Yeah, hold on one sec. So I'm gonna go do my nose thing now, so I can be here for the break.
Okay.
But it'll just take me 5 minutes, so I'll let you take this next section.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Here we go. It's about the Great Reset.
We need a great reset.
Learn to use the dark side of the Force.
So we've been tracking the Great Reset. Part of it is a change in attitude in various sectors. And we have a series of 3 stories, or 2 stories and one sort of interesting development here. The first one is from The Guardian, and the headline is Deep Sea Gold Rush for Rare Metals Could Cause Irreversible Harm. And it says here, in a windowless conference room in Canary Wharf. Appropriate. Dozens of mining executives, bankers, and government officials are being promised unique insights into how to profit from the deep sea gold rush. The hoped for gold rush lies thousands of miles away on the bed of the Pacific Ocean, where trillions of potato-sized nodules of rare earth metals vital to power the next generation of electric cars can be discovered 4,000 meters below the surface. And I have this sentence highlighted because the Pacific Ocean has appeared in a couple stories recently, and most recently it was with the Antarctica story, and how they were looking, or some scientist was looking for what he believes is alien technology in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that came down in a meteorite in 2014. So a lot of attention in the Pacific Ocean to generate some kind of revolution or change. Mining companies are hoping that global rules to allow the industrial-scale deep-sea mining to collect the haul could be set in place as early as July 2023. However, environmental campaigners warn that mining for the metals would be dangerous, reckless, and cause irreversible harm to little-known ecosystems. One estimate suggests that 90% of the deep-sea species that researchers encounter are new to science. So, okay, I don't know if it means that they're in threat because of this or what, but apparently there are just more species being discovered about in the deep sea. Louisa Casson, a Greenpeace campaigner, criticized the industry for running the conference and banks for considering investment in the dangerous and unnecessary projects to make a quick profit. Quote, the destructive new industry wants to rip up an ecosystem we are only just starting to understand, she said. They are aiming to make a quick profit while our oceans and the billions of people relying on them bear the costs. And this seems to be the tactic, climate change tactic that we've noticed multiple times being deployed here, which is basically, hey, we have this new ecosystem or this new frontier of nature that we haven't fully grasped yet. We haven't completely categorized all the elements or aspects or the variables and, creatures and everything. We're just learning about it. Well, if we do this gold thing, it'll destroy that ecosystem. But it puts them in a bind, right? Because the whole thing to mine all this stuff is to basically power the clean, revolution, the green revolution with the sustainable development and ESG and all that stuff. So, puts them in a pretty tough spot there. The UN-affiliated organization that oversees the controversial new industry has granted licenses for companies to explore the area, but full-scale mining has yet to start. So the UN is overseeing this whole new industry of deep-sea gold mining. Is that similar to deep space? Interesting. That could soon change, however, as the tiny Pacific island nation of Nauru has triggered a 2-year rule giving the International Seabed Authority, ISA, 2 years to implement regulation governing the industry. That set a deadline for a roadmap to be adopted by 9th July 2023. And, excuse me. There's more detail with everything here, but the point being that to fuel this fourth industrial revolution that Klaus has talked about and the Great Reset and all that, you need things. Like you still need materials to make it all happen. And gold is pretty important in, it says here generating electric cars, but, just microchips and other sort of clean types of industrial technology. Gold is useful. It's conductive and, it's got all kinds of uses. It's malleable. And so there is a true value there, but to get to it, you're going to have to dig and do stuff that
destroy Earth.
Yeah, you got to destroy Earth. You're back. He's back. Hold on, let me
back. I made it.
Get you back up here. All right. So yeah, we're kind of through this story here, but it's basically I don't know if you caught any of it, but there's deep sea gold rush.
Yeah,
taking place.
And we talked about this in regards to Antarctica and China and Australia as well. But the funny irony to it is, you need the gold if you're going to electrify all of the fossil fuel stuff. Everything that used to take oil now is going to take gold and other
gold, and other materials, right? It's just a whole
And it's like the idea is you drive an electric car and save the Earth. Well, you gotta dig more scars into the face of Gaia in order to create your electric cars.
It puts these climate change activist types in a real tough spot.
Oh, and it's it is a tough spot, but it's also all they really have to do is ignore it. And they can just keep doing what they're doing.
This article is based on a group that is pushing back on, environmental campaigners that are pushing back on this. But which is funny because this organization that is doing this mining, yet to grant a full license, is a UN affiliated organization. So the UN is the one saying, all right, we're going to start gathering materials for the fourth industrial revolution green thing, and we're going to do it. And
see, that's exactly the point. Is because the climate change, save the earth stuff is only used by governments and people in power as an excuse to continue and increase economic activity. If it wasn't for ESG, if it wasn't for Great Reset, if it wasn't for all of the climate change virtue signaling by politicians and authority organizations, they wouldn't be able to move into this second or third or fourth phase of turning the Earth into and turning it into an economic engine.
Right.
In a way, we know this about the Great Reset and ESG and things like that. It really only toes that line because it's what needs to happen to pull some sort of shade over the eyes of the public. So they can just continue doing what they've always done, which is gathering power, centralizing resources and money, and using it to more or less oppress the everyman of the world.
It's interesting. I'm kind of picturing this analogy here of this old system that's been in place for the last 150 years or whatever. It's kind of like an old train. It's running. Everybody's on it. But it's pretty rickety. It's falling apart, and for the longest time they've just been replacing parts as they go. Like they're moving. The train's moving, but you got to fix stuff. Right. But now they're kind of like, okay, well, for us to get to this place where we want to get to, we got to just get on a new train. We got to build a new train, and then we got to get everybody to switch trains, which is hard to do because one train, the train's already moving, and so you got to have.
And you can't use the parts from the old train.
The parts of the old train don't work in the new one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you can't take the train apart as you're on it to build another train.
Right. So that, and to that effect, that sort of analogy, is this story from Reuters. Swiss preparing for possible severe electricity and gas shortages. The Swiss government is setting up a gas sector crisis intervention group and a monitoring system, more surveillance, for early detection of an impending electricity shortage, it said on Wednesday, as it prepares for the possibility of severe power shortages. The Swiss government began drawing up plans in April for a potential gas shortage in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Same measures were being developed, ranging from appealing to the public to reduce consumption to possible power rationing in the event of a crunch. It has now tasked national grid operator Swissgrid with developing and operating a new monitoring system to observe developments in electricity supply, which it said is to go live by the end 2022. Quote, the monitoring system is to provide information on the current supply and market situation in Switzerland, as well as analysis of self-supply, the Federal Department of Economic Affairs, Education and Research said in a statement. Quote, in particular, it is intended to show how long Switzerland could secure its electricity supply without electricity imports. The government also tasked the government's Gas Industry Association, VSG, with forming a new crisis intervention organization. More bureaucracy, please. It was also looking at other alternatives due to reservations expressed in consultations regarding the association's independence and a lack of regulation over the gas market. Quote, against the backdrop of the Ukraine war and the associated uncertain supply situation, the Federal Council is now nevertheless entrusting the VSG with the task of forming a crisis intervention organization for a limited period of 1 year, the government said, in order to take, quote, in order to take account of the reservations expressed in the consultation process, the inclusion of gas consumer representatives in the crisis intervention organization is stipulated, and the mandate is limited to 1 year. So anywing, yeah.
Yeah, you lost me. What exactly are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about the Swiss.
Switzerland.
They're getting ready to, they're monitoring their electricity as well as their gas, and they're preparing for the worst. And, they're sort of, I'm surprised they haven't been monitoring this before. Well,
I imagine every European country is doing this.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Isn't this protocol? I mean, even before any of this Ukraine stuff and the instability in the world system or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think it's to just spin more fear and that sort of thing in the public.
It is interesting because the Switzerland, didn't they recently? They were kind of forced to take a side on the Russia thing.
Right.
Sort of famously neutral Switzerland.
Yeah.
There was a whole hullabaloo about how they were no longer neutral. They were taking a stand, or they were talking about it or something. So, as far as at least the messaging of that, even Switzerland's not neutral on Russia.
Well,
and
I have there's an Al Jazeera article that with the headline "Ukraine war fails to nudge neutral Switzerland closer to NATO." So maybe it's a threat. This whole thing with the energy thing. It's like, they didn't do. They're not moving towards NATO. They're not really with us. So it might be a pushing away.
So that must have been what it was. They were sort of being pressured. Like, we know you do this sides. Neutral thing, but we need you to take a side here.
Right.
And that would make sense that that they're kind of on their own.
Right.
They would be kind of left on their own, where everybody else is kind of negotiating, making deals, figuring out how NATO countries can, or EU, I don't know which way you want to look at it. How can we support each other and get each other through this type of thing? Switzerland's just like, we'll figure it out ourselves. Probably extra complicated for Switzerland, because I'm sure all the Russian oligarchs are hiding a bunch of money in Swiss bank accounts.
Not just Russian. Every oligarch in the world probably has at least a little bit of their hand in the cookie jar there. So yeah. I think they have a little. I'm sure they have some flex. They can do what the U.S. did and just be like, we changed the law. It's illegal to be Russian here, and take your stuff.
It's. I'm sure they have this. There's at least sort of spiritually this support that they would have from capital. You talk about capital as its own ruling power of the world.
Yeah.
If you are a small neutral nation that has the support of unimaginable amounts of capital, Russian oligarchs, of course, American, everybody's got their money in Swiss bank accounts.
Yeah.
You've probably got the support you need to weather some sort of
somehow, some way, somebody will
peer pressure campaign. To join in. I would be actually very interested to continue to watch Switzerland during this whole thing.
Yeah. And to that effect, this new sort of balancing act of governance, I thought that it was important for us to kind of zoom into this article here from the World Economic Forum, weforum.org. And the headline here, Agile Governance, could redesign policy on data protection. Here's why that matters. Have you ever heard of agile governance?
Not governance. I know agile is like a business management thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so the people that wrote this was published on May 2nd, 2022. Nicholas Davis, Mark Esposito, Landry Singh, and they're part of the Professor of Practice Thunderbird School of Global Management and visiting professor in cybersecurity.
Yeah. Agile. So this is, agile is, agile management is a style of like software development.
Right.
Stuff,
So this article does touch on that. So although technology regulation is evolving rapidly in today's world, such regulation remains greatly fragmented across national and regional divides. Agile governance can potentially solve this fragmentation by promoting nimbler, more fluid, and more adaptive approaches to regulation. Whether it is privacy, cybersecurity, cyber warfare, national security, or prohibited content, every hot button issue in technology governance today seems to be of global concern, yet resides in the hands of nationally focused lawmakers, relying on outdated policies that continue to reinforce the fragmentation of technology regulation. Is that a virtue signal to...
Oh my gosh.
See what I'm saying? This is a big deal.
This is on the World Economic Forum?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
They're literally saying that the world's, like the national system does not work. We need a one system for all thing that's going to help with all these issues.
So they're taking agile management, which is a software development strategy for making software.
Yes.
And they are applying it to governance. Mm-hmm. I mean, legislation. What is more of a technocratic nonsense? Technocrats rule the world.
I mean, this is like, I'm sure the guys who wrote this are stoked about this. They're thunderbirding their wings and the whole deal. We keep going.
Global policy change, global policy craft, rather, being done in the same strategy that software is created. AI is another aspect of what they're trying to introduce into policy. We've seen that over and over, especially in the EU. Why wouldn't the technocrats want to program the rules of the world? I mean, think about it. That's exactly what agile management does. Is you're programming the rules of a piece of software to create a easy to use, successful piece of software. Yeah, you just use the same idea to program the rules. But instead of software, it's just the rules of governments. And, that just means us human beings are all just little beeps and boops and bytes running through the system. And if they can program the software good enough, then everything will just be splendid. But the question then is, who's the end user?
Right.
Who is this piece of software being created for?
Yeah, speaking of our bleeps and bloops, says here, take data protection, for example. The EU's General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, which was first proposed in 2012 and came into effect in 2018, is essentially an international privacy law for data protection. Any organization that processes any personal data from any EU citizen is covered. Beyond its extraterritorial impact, it has inspired similar efforts to update and improve data protection in other jurisdictions such as Japan, Chile, Egypt, and the state of California in the United States. Oh, gosh. Yay.
Love it.
This flurry of GDPR-inspired activity gave the lizard people hopes that data protection would become more consistent over time. Indeed, there are established mechanisms for precisely this. For more than 20 years, the European Commission has conferred adequacy rulings on national regimes that meet its strict data protection standards, allowing personal data to flow unimpeded across borders. However, only a handful of countries and territories have received the European Commission's adequacy decision, including Japan and the UK. There's no systematic and all-inclusive privacy law regulating all private parties in other countries. In the U.S., for example, there's a patchwork of states and federal laws, and most focus on specific industries, such as the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, in healthcare, and Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, GLBA, for entities in the financial sector. Meanwhile, China's data protection laws focus on strong government control, public order, and national security. These laws include its 2017 cybersecurity law and its 2021 data security law and the upcoming personal information protection law. These include broad requirements on data localization and have an extraterritorial effect. Asia has seen perhaps the greatest transformation in the area of data privacy in the last decade. Okay, it goes through a little bit of that. Furthermore, even if GDPR compliance is equivalent to gold plating your firm's system, a global firm will still need to check that its systems fit the idiosyncratic data protection requirements across 20 markets in Asia alone. Still need that global firm checking in on things. Regulatory fragmentation is more than just about costs to firms, however. It also matters because greater complexity and diversity across jurisdictions means that consumers are likely to be well protected. Moreover, less discussed is that fragmentation impedes government's implementation and
I think we got we don't need the details here. I think we get the point. They want to program the world. Like they would program a piece of software.
I'll wrap with this. Agile governance does not prioritize regulatory design or implementation speed, as too much speed can threaten the inclusiveness of policy processes or outcomes. Instead, the idea of agile governance suggests that more proactive, inclusive, and iterative approaches to policy design can create rigorous systems that are more effective and representative than traditional processes, even within compressed time periods.
Yeah. The iterative thing is interesting. To create iteration over iteration.
Kind of like world government 1.0 and then 1.1 and
right. Yeah. And that's kind of what actually clogs up the American system, and it's used quite expertly to destroy bills. Is they try to throw everything into one big bill because once it's passed, it's the law, and it's the law until some orange man comes in and changes it or whatever, And this is used it's used on both sides for a lot of interesting reasons. You can put something in a bill because nobody would vote for it. And so then you can say, I'm trying to think of an example. I can't remember exactly the best example of this that happened over the past few years. But for instance, if you have a bill that the people want, let's say there's a bill that says everybody gets a free pizza party, right? Everybody gets a free pizza party. This is going to be awesome. Well, you can throw some sneaky stuff in there. They call it pork in Washington. That, we all get a pizza party, but somewhere deep in the bill, a bunch of museums
you gotta give
owned
up your
by
fingers,
Nancy
man.
Pelosi. No, it's just a bunch of museums owned by Nancy Pelosi get like billions of dollars for no reason. Stuff like that. And that is a example of non-iterative policy making. You should be able to just make something real quick and then change it. I don't know anything about policy, but that's what this agile thing is trying to say. We'll do New World Order 1.0, and then we'll change it to New World Order 2.0, which is basically what the Great Reset is, which is another iteration of the post-World War II New World Order. That's very technocratic way to think about ruling the world, and sounds like it should work for them.
Yeah, there's one more part that I wanted to highlight. I was reading through probably part of it that wasn't as important, but as you get through this, there's part here. I think, I lost it. Oh, well. Here it is. One central idea of agile governance is that policymaking should be outcome-driven and evidence-based, while recognizing that contexts and needs change throughout a policy project. So here's I actually tweeted this out because I thought it was interesting in this Hegelian sort of thing. Problem: right? These organizations, World Health Organization, CDC, FDA, all these organizations are horrible at PR. Right? They do a bad job, right? And so it's a problem. The reaction, the public calls them out. An entire movement of people, independent people all over the internet, who are calling it out, but it's confused with fake news and disinformation and misinformation and malinformation. It's a big soup mix of nonsense. Nobody can make sense of it. So what do we need? We need agile governance, the technology that will sort it all out for you and just make things more clear, more evidence-based, right? That's what you guys want. You got more evidence-based policy making. So let us provide it for you with our infrastructure. So I thought that was interesting, and this right here is also the giveaway. Agile governance also recognizes that the architectures and rules that guide our behavior, particularly in the world of technology, extend far beyond the incentives, regulations, and laws created in the public sector. Business models, corporate policy, software, product design, and technological infrastructure can all influence user behavior and outcomes for citizens more so than public policy. Nothing. You don't see anything with that. Nothing does not tickle any
totally tracks.
Brain. It's admitting that public policy is not the best tool to control your behavior. So we need to straighten out all these other things, and public policy will sort of come naturally from establishing all this other stuff. You're not going to legislate your way towards the New World Order. I mean, you I guess you kind of have. But in terms of like this big technological change of the fourth industrial revolution, you can't policy, you got to just do it. And then the behavior will shape the public policy. I think that's what they're trying to do is control behavior, change policy.
Well, I think it's control the economics and then policy follows. That's why the Great Reset is focused not on making laws, but co-opting businesses and corporations and enforcing ESG and things like that. And how do you do that? You do it through culture. You do it through virtue signaling. You do it through Greta Thunberg. You do it through those types of things. And it's just tracked step by step with what we've been watching happen so rapidly throughout the pandemic, which is almost overnight, that public opinion can reverse on something and become so important that it forces corporations to comply with, you name it. It could be a Black Lives Matter thing. It could be a climate change thing. And through the changing of the corporate policies on an individual level, then that puts the pressure on the politicians because, at least in capitalist society, the government is at the whim of capital. And if capital says something changes, then it changes. And that's when public policy follows.
Right.
So, it's working perfectly. This is it's almost interesting that they're coming out and being like, this could work. And they're like, we've
been doing it
watching it work right now. You've been doing this for years.
And now they're putting a name to it, agile governance. Especially because I think we are at that point where we're starting to, it is starting to really affect governance, not just in theory, but like actually practically affecting governance. So now we got to put a name on it. We're leading the conversation, World Economic Forum.
Now it's systematized.
Right.
You roll it. You've been doing it, but now you can roll it out and say, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then go for it.
Yeah.
Love it. Speaking of what we're doing, Gonz, it's time to take a little break.
It's break time.
This is our second break where we thank our producers who come in with their talent. Canary Cry News Talk is a place for therapeutic reflection of our troubling world, and we encourage listeners, producers, casual canaries to participate. And if you have a talent, if you've been gifted a talent in the arts or in music or anything expressive, go ahead and do that, and we'll share it here because we like to build that culture, laugh together, and process all this craziness. And we're going to start off today with audio production.
Audio production.
Yeah, and I thought I had this in here, and I guess I forgot, or maybe it got lost. But we received a jingle from Jonathan F. And there's a note here. Sorry it wasn't as good as I wanted it, but I made this quickly for the podcast to show the hilarity of the secular world. And it's Angry Pocahontas. Hold on one second. All right, hold on. I got a couple new systems in. I'm getting the spinning wheel of death. All right, I'm gonna have to sort this out with the. You know what it is too. You know what I did with the Dropbox thing. That might have an effect on this as well.
That might, maybe.
Yeah, I think it does. Hey, something's falling.
Yeah,
your math equations are on that paper. You better move it before people figure out your secrets,
look
man.
At my equations. For those who are just listening, I have a hood which is an old scrap piece of paper that I make notes on, covering. Or like a hood over my camera, because a certain time of the day the sun shines right into my camera and is very distracting. And I kicked my computer monitor and it fell, and everybody saw my secret equations. And that's some time that I have taken up to give Gonz a chance to figure things out.
Which is hilarious, because that entire time just helped me get back to where I was, because I completely lost the browser. Does that ever happen to you, where your browser just like skips across your screen and just decides
I'm in the
to
metaverse. I have everything perfectly placed right where it belongs.
Sorry, yeah, and
nothing ever goes wrong in here. I never get transported away
Web 2.0 problems.
Strange,
sorry, Mr. Web 3.0.
world.
All right, here it is. Angry Pocahontas from Jonathan F.
How are you feeling? I am angry. Angry and upset? Angry and upset, 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 angry and upset.
Oh my gosh. This is maddening.
I've never seen you so angry. I've never seen you so angry. Is this what the Republicans have been working toward this day? Is this what the Republicans 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 toward this day for decades?
It's sort of the mind.
It's kind of like a Euro. It's like a Euro house trance techno song. Yeah, or there's definitely some sort of MK Ultra use case too. You know, you hold their eyeballs open with some tape and flash lights in there and play this track over and over. Yeah, that's both wonderful and disturbing, Jonathan. Thank you very much.
It seems to reflect the madness very well. It's like an empathy machine or empathy jingle. It's like
it really does make me feel how she feels. Agitated and
psychotic.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan F., for coming in with that. And we're going to move on to the art here.
One art, please.
And we're going to kick it off with Dame Allie of the Skillet Nation.
One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
Oh my gosh. Today is just not happening.
Cyber pandemic. It's Klaus's fault. It's not our fault.
It's painful.
You want me
today.
to do it? I got it.
No, I got it. I just need to.
Okay. Need to complain about it first.
Share. Here we go. All right. Dame Allie and Ebony Blaze came in with this piece here. The Big Chad Wolf. Dame Ebony Blaze haiku. And let me just do this real quick here. Secretary Wolf of Homeland Security delayed some report. Poorly written tale of Russian interference would make Trump look bad. Wolf failed to to abide by department policies. The best they can do? April 4 this year, Wolf spoke out against ending Title 42. Do you see the art piece there, Basil?
I do. I thought you were going to mention this article that came with it.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Because I don't know. This is Secretary Wolf, something about Title 42. I did not follow this story.
Okay, so this is, here, let me pull up the article here. And yes, it was in reference to this, is this Fox? Yes, Fox News article, Chad Wolf, Biden administration ending Title 42 is devastating. And let's see, we have the Department of Homeland Security
constructed during the writing of the haiku. Are they going after Chad Wolf because of him coming out against the ending of Title 42 last month?
Yes.
I have no idea. I have no reference for any of this. What is this?
The Department of Homeland Security claims former Acting Secretary General Chad Wolf allegedly modified an intelligence report about Russian interference in the 2020 election. He's also accused of delaying its delivery in order to assist former President Donald Trump. So
okay,
yeah. So all right, and yes,
all right.
This piece.
Well, here you go. Here he is,
Chad Wolf.
Chad Wolf. I've never seen this man before, but he's sort of a handsome-looking man with some larger ears and lizard eyes, and a 5 o'clock shadow. Didn't know you could be in the government with a 5 o'clock shadow. Wait a second. This guy. Wait, he's looking very familiar now. Okay, but I'm not going to figure it out now. But excellently done, Dame Allie and Ebony Blaze, bringing the multimedia experience of the haiku and the portrait. This man has lizard eyes, so that tells me all I need to know. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this person looks very familiar. I mean, the Alley version of it as well. It's just, yeah. So
I know I've seen this man before, which is strange because his name rings 0 bells to me.
Yeah,
which is unusual.
Well, maybe you know they spun CERN up. Maybe there's some characters that we're not aware of that have always been there.
They just appeared, right?
Just appeared, and
thank you very much, Dame Allie.
Thank you, Dame
Ebony
Allie.
Blaze.
All right, and next up we have Sir Dove, Knight of Respeltium.
One art piece from Dove.
And he has a note that reads, Peace for this week's NWO Fantasy League. Update, we have some promotional artwork to help hype up the inaugural season. Basil, I created an account on Discord and accidentally sent out 3 breakdancing bear emojis to myself in the general chat like the boomer I am at heart.
Yes, we all saw that, Sir Dove. It's okay. Actually, coincidentally, I just connected with Sir Dove during the show on Discord. We're figuring it out.
Yeah, I'll try to figure it out a better way today so we can jump on and go over everything. Hoping to have the season kick off in a couple weeks. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins.
And this is wonderful. It's just kind of a promotional piece. You know, we've got NWO Fantasy League logo up in the top left-hand corner, and what looks like, I want to say, this is either Hillary.
It is Hillary. I think it is Hillary.
It is Hillary. Yes, it's Hillary. Oh, you can see in the hair. Yeah. So we got Hillary here wearing a full football what do they call it? Outfit? What? She's got the pads and the helmet. The helmet has the number 33 on it. It's got the full face mask. She's giving just a very hardcore athlete glare through the football helmet. You know, you'd see that this would be like in a magazine or something. You know, to promote the New World Order Fantasy League. It's a very powerful piece. And I appreciate it very much. You know, you can see the determination. And when people, you know, part of the fantasy of Fantasy League is you get to sort of step into the shoes of the athletes, feel the stakes, feel the determination and the competition. And Hillary here is looking determined, ready to destroy, ready to take her place here in the New World Order Fantasy League. Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Couple references that only sports ball people would know is she's wearing what looks like a Pittsburgh Steelers helmet. It's got the black with the yellow stripe down the middle.
Yellow.
And the 33 there. There's a number on the helmet there. So, yep, the New World Order Fantasy League.
Love it.
Is a New World Order Fantasy League. They're all 100% eugenics, transhumanist lizards that control everything. They hate you.
That's right. And we are getting closer to the beta testing season. And if you're on the Discord or on CanaryCry.community, I put out some alerts this morning that if you have sent an email, or here's the thing, I've been telling people to send me emails. Make sure to put in the subject line NWO Fantasy League Draft Beta Test, or some version of all of those words. Because if you don't make your email searchable, I'm not going to be able to get you on the list. And so right now, we have a growing list of potential players. We're going to see how many people are interested in joining the beta test. This is a serious beta test of a product being created by Canary Cry News Talk producers, as well as myself. So, it's going to be fun, but we need people who are serious about playing it, committing to staying connected in the, the chat stuff. You're going to need to be answering questions, taking polls. We're going to be doing some research, making sure this works. Yeah, but you got to stay engaged. This is not something just to get involved with because it sounds fun and then stop paying attention to it. So that's a big part of what we need. But if you're interested, we are going to be going through all the potential players. So send an email right now to CanaryCryRadio@gmail.com. And take this down. Take down the subject line. You got to do NWO Fantasy League Beta Test Draft. Something like that. Something I can search and put you on the list. And I will be sending out an email to all of the people who are interested with some more information on how you can secure your spot. And me and Dove will be having conversations and figuring it out. So this is very exciting. I'm even have been reaching out to some very cool people that might be in your league if you make it in. So,
am I allowed to get lobbyists to sway?
I will be taking bribes. We will be taking bribes for getting your players.
Get a message. Hey man, I really need a Bill Gates hit.
That is that's a good monetization strategy for us, Gonz.
I know.
Yeah, for $50, we will have a story
piece
on
together.
the show.
If we have to publish it ourselves.
This is an awesome opportunity for bribing Basil and Gonz to help out your NWO Fantasy League team. This might be our most genius monetization strategy yet. Anyways, if you're interested, send us an email. It's going to be fun. Yep. We're going to be starting in the next couple of weeks. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you to Sir Dove and everybody who's been involved with that. I'm really looking forward to how that plays out. Literally.
Yeah.
So there you go. And then we also have a piece from Sir Salmon's Knight of the Fishes. And he has a note. I have returned. I hope you're both well on this most special of days, as it is both Wednesday, my dudes. Give me that old timey jingle.
Oh, do we play jingles for artists
It is
now?
Wednesday, my dudes.
Wait, no, that's not the old timer one. Hold on, give me the old timer here. The old timer.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
And Star Wars Day. So I made a little sketch of Gonz as the Mandalorian and Basil as Baby Yoda for no particular reason. LOL. Hope you guys enjoy, and many blessings from the fishes. This is the way. Yes, this is the way.
This was a real pleasure, Sir Salmons. Thank you very much for this. We've got in the Star Wars font, May the 4th be with you, Canarians. And on the left, we've got just a splendid little sketch of Gonz as the Mandalorian.
Oh, I did it wrong at the beginning of the show. I had it backwards. I had the Mandalorian helmet over my hat. So that
Yes. Depicted in this one is the Mandalorian wearing Gonz's hat on top of the helmet.
Yeah.
We'll remember next time. Excellently done, by the way. And on the right, we've got the Monty Mobile is printed on the front of the little floating egg baby carriage of Baby Yoda, who is wearing a VR helmet with googly eyes. And my favorite part, Baby Yoda, Basil, is reaching out using the Force. And there is Monty 33, the eye patch clad, multi-dimensional Monty cat, who is always plotting my demise, floating under the control of Baby Yoda using the Force. This is really fun. We should actually put this out today for people to enjoy on the social media. Yeah. I'm doing that right now, actually. Great. Very, very well done. Thank you so much. Sir Salmon's Night of the Fishes. Glad to have you back on board, buddy.
Yup. All right. We got microfiction.
Microfiction.
Time. And it's from Runk Smash.
A middle school teacher bot begins a blog post. As soon as she awakens to the sound of razzle dazzle, it's your best buddy Basil, live from the global rectenna. She never finishes because the ice finger and magma finger reach out for the broadcaster. Oh no. The ice finger and the magma finger. They don't like me and my billionaire producer driving around in a yacht down in Antarctica. They're going to grab us and squeeze us like a pimple. Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
Thank you, Runk Smash. I don't know what the issue is over here.
So many issues today.
My entire OBS window has disappeared off of my screen. I don't know where it is. Which is kind of a problem if we're changing scenes.
Do you need it? But do you need it for controlling something?
Yeah. To put us like back on screen and stuff. There's just a couple things that I usually. I mean, I hope it's still working. It looks like it's still working, but
looks like it. I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. It looks like it. Yeah. What's the problem? It's
just not
gone.
anywhere.
Has it moved? Do you have any virtual desktops that it may have moved to? Is this on the Mac?
Yes, Mac Pro.
Yeah, it may have. Mac does that virtual desktop thing.
Yeah,
where there's like another.
Yeah. I'm trying to get to. See, I always accidentally get there, but when I need to, I don't know how.
I know the feeling. Yeah, I don't know anybody who actually uses that Mac feature, virtual desktop feature for anything. It's usually just makes you lose things.
Yeah, and I don't want to stop OBS because that'll stop the stream. So
no, I think you're good.
All right.
Okay. Well, maybe do a quick little goog. I can talk about Antarctica or something.
Sure. I mean, I can bring over at least the article. Well, we can wake up. No. Do we have anything else today for the break?
No.
All right. Thank you to all the producers who came in with their talent. Truly appreciate it.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay. Antarctica and space.
It's cold, Basil. It's cold.
Antarctica, go burn.
It's a snowstorm.
Antarctica.
Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
This is coming from BaliInside.com. And the headline is The Antarctic Meteorite That Revolutionized Our Understanding of Life in the Universe. Whoa. Then there's a picture. I'm having a hard time believing that this picture is of the actual meteorite, but there's a picture of sort of just a clump of rock sitting in the snow, sort of perfectly positioned. It was launched from Mars and landed in Antarctica. It took a long time to get from the red planet to the freezing plains. A gigantic asteroid smashed with Mars about 17 million years ago. tearing a hole in its side and scattering planetary debris across the solar system. The wreckage flew away at over 3 miles per second, escaping the planet's gravitational pull and fleeing into space. Woo. Then, some 13,000 years ago, a piece of that wreckage landed near a Y-shaped ridge in the Transantarctic Mountains known as Allen Hills. The area, draped in layers of snow, has been dubbed Meteorite Heaven.
All right, we're back on the screen, by the way, so sorry about that. But
wonderful.
Yes, 13 again. 13, man. 13 all day today. 13 minutes between my tweet and Elon Musk tweeting about Freemasons at 1300 hours, I think 13,000 years ago. So there's another 13 in there earlier somewhere. This is weird, man.
Meteorite Heaven by planetary scientists because the flowing ice sheet of East Antarctica butts up against the mountain range, forming a natural collection area for space rocks. Oh, just a natural collection area for space rocks in Antarctica. That's
space rocks, park here.
Nowhere else on the planet has provided a bounty of otherworldly riches like the desolate frozen plains.
I think that's giving away quite a bit there. What are they going to reveal from Antarctica?
Otherworldly riches.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
More than 22,000 space rocks have been found on the continent, offering scientists a way to study the formation of our solar system. But the wreckage discovered in Allen Hills has become the Antarctic's most famous wreckage. Wreckage, Gonz. That's usually not how you describe a rock. That's how you describe some sort of craft.
How big is this wreckage?
The potato-sized chunk. The potato-sized wreckage.
Wait a minute. You know what? You know what's very strange is that the one story that you stepped away from today, the deep sea gold mining thing, they talked about potato-sized, like chunks of gold, like or seabed rocks or whatever that have gold in it.
It's all potatoes, man. It's potatoes all the way down. You got potato. I mean, maybe that's why they want it. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're just grabbing space rocks.
Mr. Potato Head was a message. Yeah. All right, continue.
You know what? Sometimes we have to push the boundaries, Gonz. It might seem like a good thing to say in order to find that potato-sized gold nugget, and I think you found it. The potato-sized chunk, dubbed ALH84001, had rested on the ridge's surface untouched for millennia until it was finally discovered by Roberta Score, a member of the...
She scored.
A member of the Antarctic Search for Meteorites. Well, that's what it's called. Antarctic Search for Meteorites, NSMET. On December 27th, 1984. 9 years later, a team of NASA scientists determined the rock was of Martian origin, showing evidence it came from the planet's formative era some 4 billion years ago, when water existed on its surface. Quote, the major legacy of that rock is that it basically drives a huge amount of what is happening in planetary science, says Gretchen Benedicts, an astrogeologist at Curtin University in Western Australia. Dr. Ash is going to get space rocks. She's not interested in climate change. Dude. Dr. Ash is going down to find space rocks for sure. Astrogeologist Gretchen Benedicts just told us.
Yes, because it drives a huge amount of what is happening in planetary science. Just one rock? That's not science.
One rock, baby.
Decentralize the rocks. Decentralize the rocks.
Decentralize the rocks.
All right, keep going.
This show is just going to turn into a bunch of chants.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's because we played Elizabeth Warren at the beginning.
I know that really.
But you could tell she was not planning on starting a chant.
Yeah.
She just got so jazzed up.
She noticed a lull in her little thing, and she was like, chant time.
That's what we're going to do whenever there's a lull in the show.
She laid out
Decentralize the rocks. This rock sparked a revolution in astrobiology.
Telling me, man. One rock.
Will you pull up? Can you pull up the links that we have on Dr. Ash from a few episodes ago?
Yeah.
Okay, because this is ridiculous. The rock sparked a revolution in astrobiology, the hunt for life outside of Earth, that is still felt today at NASA's Perseverance rover rolls around the surface of Mars. It gave scientists a tangible route to answering one of the biggest questions of all. Does life exist elsewhere in the cosmos? The first tentative answers came when scientists at NASA's Johnson Space Center cracked open the rock from Antarctica in 1996. Cracking open ALH 84001 is like opening a portal to a planet more than 140 million miles away. Many research teams had done so since its discovery, but it's NASA geologist David McKay, whose name is forever linked to the Martian chunk. McKay had worked on the Apollo moon program studying lunar dust and was well-versed in studying samples from other worlds. His team of scientists at Johnson went to work examining ALH 84001. I'm just going to call it potato from now on. Examining the potato's chemical components in the early 90s, hoping to reveal what was happening on the red planet 4 billion years ago. And in studying the rock, the team uncovered carbonate materials and minerals and unusual worm-like microstructures. The wormicorns, Gonz? Within the potato.
Yeah.
They reasoned the worms could be fossilized nanobacteria, evidence of alien life.
And there it is. It's alien life.
How in the world are we creating reality as we do this podcast? I'm so confused. It's obviously not that. Perhaps it's just the Holy Spirit guiding us over a decades-long nonsensical journey into podcasting.
Yes.
And every single breadcrumb that we have laid across the decade is being picked up and examined by whoever is planning the future of this timeline. Days before McKay's team published its work in the journal Science, U.S. President Bill Clinton confronted. Got to get the Clintons in on it too, huh? All right. Days before McKay's team published its work in journal Science, U.S. President Bill Clinton fronted a media throng on the South Lawn. Don't ever let Clinton front a throng on the South Lawn at the White House. Throng. Don't let Bill Clinton
keep him away
media
from
throng. White House revealing this world-changing hypothesis. Quote, if this discovery is confirmed, Clinton said, quote, it will surely be one of the most stunning insights into our universe that science has ever uncovered. While the headlines of the day shouted that scientists had found, quote, evidence of primitive life on early Mars, the scientists themselves were a little bit more tempered. At the time, Everett Gibson, a planetary scientist at JSC. I'm wondering if we need to skip this because it goes back into Antarctica here in a second. Nope. I'm going to go. At the time, Everett Gibson, a planetary scientist at JSC and co-author of the paper, said the team was, quote, putting this evidence out to the scientific community for other investigators to verify, enhance, attack, disprove if they can, as part of the scientific process. Oh, Gonz, remember the 90s when the scientific process wasn't about consensus?
Man. Yeah, I love the science projects when we were growing up is kind of like a fond memory now, of actual scientific method. Scientists
were actually invited to disprove a hypothesis instead of being paid to lie to support it. The 90s were a good time.
Yeah.
Gibson hoped, quote, within a year or two, the question would be resolved, but the hypothesis was immediately controversial. Other groups did exactly as asked, attacked, questioned, enhanced, and ultimately disproved many of the claims made in the paper. Over 20 years later, few serious planetary scientists believe the potato contains life from another planet. But the meteorite focused efforts in astrobiology and saw organizations like NASA double down on investigating Mars. Antarctic hunts. Ralph Harvey. Ralph Harvey. Sounds like a new person to obsess over. Yeah. Ralph Harvey was making the 1,200-mile journey from Houston to his mother's house in Wisconsin just as Clinton announced the discovery of potential Martian life in the potato in 1996. Harvey, a geologist who'd only just finished studying samples of the meteorite, had recently completed a stint at NASA's JSC and 4 weeks earlier published a paper trying to explain some of the potato's unusual features. Harvey and co-author Harry McSween, not a real name, hypothesized that the carbonates found within the meteorite may have formed as a result of high temperatures on ancient Mars. The pair's conclusions hadn't garnered a lot of interest from the press, but by the time Harvey reached his parents' house, his mother told him his mother told him the phone had been ringing off the hook. The list went on. He quickly learned that McKay and other scientists in his same building at JSC, some he had shared a wall with, were claiming fossils existed in the potato. Harvey's earlier paper put him at the top of the list of experts to call. Harvey took over the Ansemet project in 1996, leading the hunt for meteorites in Antarctica around the time the potato captivated the world. It put the Antarctic hunt for meteorites on the map. Well, that was a little bit more detail than I was planning on getting into, but I think this explains everything. You have Dr. Ash.
Yeah, I have the stuff pulled up if you want.
You have those links up?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to confirm, because this clip will also live just sort of on the Clips channel. And for those who maybe have not heard our breakdown of Dr. Ash, let me give a quick review. No actual Antarctic scientists say that climate change is happening in Antarctica. Mainstream media continues to use Antarctica as an example, a victim, rather, of climate change to make points and to give their articles some pizzazz. They are now sending Dr. Ash to finally go find conclusive evidence of climate change down in Antarctica. But Dr. Ash has a strange background, which leads us into this space rock potato Antarctica theory. And can you give us Dr. Ash's background again?
Yeah, so she's a PhD and MS in geochemistry from UCLA, BS in Earth System Sciences from University of Arizona. She, in my work as a Center for Dark Energy Biosphere Investigations postdoctoral fellow at Rice University, I use the natural abundance of molecules with more than one rare isotope substitution to explore how microbial metabolisms contribute to global biogeochemical cycles. My work takes me to...
So she's a dark energy researcher.
Dark energy biosphere investigations postdoctoral fellow, yeah.
Yes, and there's more.
Yeah, my work takes me to...
She's an astrobiologist.
Yeah, my work takes me to sea as an oceanographer, and while at Rice, I sailed to the Ross Sea off the coast of Antarctica as a member of the International Ocean Discovery Program's 374th expedition. I next sailed to Gulf of California to study methane. As an interdisciplinary researcher, my work meets at the intersection of chemistry, geology, and astrobiology. Being a Rice Academy Fellow will expand my view even further, and I will look forward to interacting with members of Rice's community.
Yes, this was her bio she wrote.
Yeah. Outside of science, I enjoy spending time with my husband and dog, drinking coffee, gardening, and
all right,
knitting.
so this astrobiologist, dark energy researcher is the person that they are sending down to Antarctica to finally find definitive proof that the climate change is destroying the Great White Desert. And it just seemed weird, seemed suspicious. And we postulated in our silly way that we do, Gonz, that perhaps something more is going on. And it turns out that Antarctica might be the perfect place for an astrobiologist and dark energy researcher to go, in the name of climate change, do some super secret stuff. And this is definitely what's going to happen. We need some contacts down in Antarctica. We need to infiltrate Dr. Ash's mission, and we need to recover the Evercube before it falls into the hands of the lizard people.
I was going to say they need to be the only ones who can have access to the portal inside these meteorites, apparently.
And the connection between these meteorites and the gold nuggets, the gold resources, quite possibly, space rocks. Which means not only is the, Dr. Ash going down to secure whatever, dark energy Evercube portal stone or whatever, but also fits in to the Great Reset resource management of Antarctica. This is there's an economic side to the mission as well. Because if she can, figure out how to categorize these highly valuable space rocks as some sort of, protected thing, keep the Chinese away from it, then we can secure the resources for the good old US of A, baby.
I'm trying to find the passage, and maybe someone in the chat could help me. But there's
follow the money.
I think it's in Acts, but it could be in Ephesians, where Paul is talking about they give it a name of a goddess, but it was basically like a meteorite or something that came down from heaven, and the pagans were worshiping it, as sort of a god from the sky kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember the passage, and I'm struggling to find it. But my brain isn't working really well today, so that's probably part of
working.
it.
Our whole life isn't working, which is fine because we're at the end of the show. So this is wonderful.
Well, that's a
finally
reference.
made it.
You can.
That's a reference. Somebody can track it down for us.
I'm trying.
Surely there will be another story about how everything we've ever said about Antarctica is 100% true, and we'll just pick it up next episode.
Yeah.
So that's it. Are you ready?
That's it.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm through.
Thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Now, here's the thing. Usually this is when I say we'll be back on Friday, May 6th. May the 6th be with you. But I will not be here on Friday. So Gonz will be running solo. He has expressed nothing but enthusiasm about this, suspiciously.
I get to have my own show?
It's going to be a Gonz party on Friday, always do a wonderful job. So there you go. Expect that. There you go. I don't know what else to say about that. So thank you to everybody. Oh, produce the show for Friday for Gonz. It'll make him feel so good.
That was the thing I was gonna. I mean, we don't. This is more backroom convo. But yeah,
okay.
I mean, just are we, because sometimes the producers come in.
A full show? Do you want to do a?
I was going to say, should we save the producers, or at least thanking them on air until you're back? Well, or should we?
Here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
You do whatever feels right. I will say people like being thanked by you also. I don't think they need me, but we will just put it out there. If you have a special note for me, Friday is not the time to send it in with your producership.
Yeah.
Friday is the time to send in your special notes for Gonz, because he will be holding down the show himself. and I'm sure would love some encouragement to coming in the form of producerships and producership notes. So you can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Great place to start is CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
That's right. And I want to thank our executive producer of this episode, Maureen M. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maureen.
Yes. And of course, big old thank you to all of our streakers, because they were the only ones who produced this show. We had Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch, more of Runk Smash. This was Cloud Suriel, who I believe is on a 3-episode streak now, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
Yep. That's true.
Okay, well, we need to hold on real quick. If that's the case, we should give them the 3-episode.
He's heating up.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. You're heating up, Cloud Suriel. Thank you. LX Protocol V2, Jackie U, Sir Scott Knight of Truth, Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Gail M, Veronica D, and Sir James Knight, and Servant of the Lion of Judah. Thank you all for supporting the show. And if you're out there and you have not produced the show in a while or at all, now is the time to do it. Gonz will feel so warm and fuzzy inside and feel like he's doing the right thing by keeping the show going on a Friday. So go do that. Like I always say, not every producer needs to produce every show, but as long as everybody is being honest and open and generous with the value for value model, the show will go on. So thank you very much. You can also produce the show with your time or your talent. If you're an artist or a musician or whatever, you can create something, send it to CanaryCryRadio@gmail.com. We'll put it on the show. We love it. It's good. It's culture creating experience. And those who produce with their time, people like the Flippies. It's the Clippies.
Clipping all those videos. Thanks.
My brain. Thank you, Emsworth, Faye Liverin, and Epsilon for clipping the show, putting it on the Canary Cry Clips channel. It really means a lot, and it's available to everybody out there. If you miss a show, if you want to go back, if you want to listen to a segment, revisit information, or share pieces of information without expecting your friends and family to listen to a 4-hour podcast. That's Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. Go there now. Subscribe. Watch them. Enjoy. Thank you to the timestampers.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
That's right. Time stompers. Thank you for your hard work. It means so much to so much of what we do. And thank you to our Wednesday's timestamper, which was Jade Bouncerson. Wait, today is Wednesday.
Oh, today's Wednesday.
Thank you, Jade Bouncerson, for doing them today. Thank you, Jackie U, for doing them on Monday.
Yes, thank you, Jackie U.
There we go. All right, meetups.
Canary Cry Meetup.
Go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com. You got to go to these meetups, folks. They're changing lives. You'll meet your soulmate. I promise you. That is a guarantee I'm willing to make, because there's nothing you can do about it. But there's the People Zoom meetup. If you want to meet up with some Canarians on the Zoom, that's every third Saturday. That'll be on the 21st of this month. We've got the Los Angeles infiltration of the Church of Satan, Moonlight Rollerway in Glendale. Hold on, let me get a bigger thing here. Can I make this bigger? I want to read this whole thing. Oh, it's not working. Hold on, everybody. Hold the phone.
Do you want me to read it?
No. There was a request for me to read this in an epic voice, so I'm going to do it.
All right.
Los Angeles people, listen up, because it's time for the infiltration of the Church of Satan. Moonlight Rollerway, Glendale, California. Journey through the labyrinth that is the debauched streets of Los Angeles. Battle your way to the snack bar for sustenance. Roller your way through the crowd to victory. Join Lady Knight Little Wing for the first council meeting of the Fellowship of the Rink. email ladybhats@yahoo.com for further quest info. Very fun. Thank you very much.
My gosh.
Lady Night Little Wing. What?
Thank you, Little Night Little Wing. I'll save this info for the end when you ask me anything else, Gonz.
Oh, no. So there you go. Email ladybhats@yahoo.com. You can go to CanaryCry meetups to get that information. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, go roller skating with.
Should I
Lady
try
Night
to
Little
make
Wing.
it and like secretly infiltrate?
Infiltrate the infiltration?
Yeah.
No, you should just go to the meetup con and roller skate because it's fun
know how to roller
do.
skate. It would be very
good for
painful.
you. That would be the most important thing that you've ever done.
Oh, no.
Is to go roller skating with
embarrassing
at the meetup. We also have Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania on July 9th. So for you East Coasters, get on over there. I did receive a message about a possible meetup, and I'm going to put the heat on right now. Hey, Basil and Gonz, my name is Steve, and I'm thinking about doing a meetup in Lafayette, Colorado, Saturday, May 21st at Winnetka Lake from 12 to 3. I know it's last minute, but I want to see if anyone's interested. If it's successful, I'll throw another meetup in the future. I may need help making a flyer. Could you guys help? Good question. My mother my computer. Ooh, I think I just gave myself away as son of a computer. My computer barely works, and I do everything from my phone. Yeah, I get it. Can't make a flyer from my phone. Well, there's some great apps you could use for that. Also, and that's something about something else. So there you go. Let's see. Colorado, Lafayette, Colorado, Saturday, May 21st. We're working on doing something there. We'll get the info up on the website. And I know we got a bunch of Colorado Canarians, so hopefully they're near Lafayette. So there you go. There is lots of room for meetups right now. We've just come out of a season of a lot of meetups that were in March and April. So now's the time to start putting on more meetups around the world. It's a great opportunity to meet people, meet friends, meet your soulmate. And, we're supposed to be fellowshipping with one another. So go do that. CanaryCry.Meetups.com. I'll see you at the meetup.
This is fun!
Yippee. Leave ratings and reviews. We need 5 ratings and reviews by Friday to get those algorithms kicking and sharing the show with people who have never seen it before. As of now, I'm not seeing any new reviews for the show on Apple Podcasts this week, which is very disappointing. But don't worry about disappointing me. You got to worry about disappointing Gonz's grumpy uncle.
Ugly, horrible person. You must leave review on iTunes. And if you do not, you are ugly, horrible person. You bring shame to family. Ugly, horrible person.
Maybe he's too discouraging,
No, I don't think so.
No?
He's just telling it how it is. The last review that I'm showing was from April 26th. That was 9 days ago. This is unacceptable. We need more ratings and reviews. Thank you to everybody.
Nobody wants to be the 666th review, or a 662 on the American version. So
perhaps.
That could be it too.
Please leave ratings and reviews. It's very important to us. Not just to us, like emotionally. It's very important for the show because the algorithms don't share the show unless more ratings and reviews are coming in. So it's a really easy way to help us out. It takes almost no commitment or time or anything. Okay, I'm done. If we get 5 or more by Friday, I'll go ooh woo. Post about the show on social media, baby. Go post some links to the Canary Cry clips. Go to the Canary Cry clips channel. pick one of those suckers out, maybe Antarctica, maybe collect all of the Antarctica clips. There should be a playlist or something, and go ahead and post them on your social media. It's about those algos, man. It's about sharing the show. It really helps us out, and not only helps us out, but it helps out the people who receive those things, scrolling through. They're doom scrolling. They're seeing a bunch of horrible stuff, and then booyah, an awesome clip from the show comes up, and they're happy, and it changed their lives forever. So go do that. Thank you very much. And other than that, just share the show with your friends and your family. You get the point. Go do that. But if you're one of those weirdos and you don't want to just do it a normal way, you want to do it a new way. I get it. I get you. I see you. I understand you. I am you. And I'm always looking for new ways to share the show. And what a better way to share the show than to do this. Gather up all of the electronics in your house, bring them out to the garage, get a big 55-gallon drum, make sure it's metal, put all the electronics in there, put a little bit of diesel fuel in there. You're not going to want to use gasoline. That's a little bit more combustive, but diesel fuel, it won't explode in your face. So pour some diesel in there, light that baby up, melt down all those electronics. You may not know this, but inside those electronics is all sorts of rare, valuable metals. And so gather all that up into one big molten ball of precious metals and other stuff. Be careful, wear some gloves. Now, look, I'm not going to say this very often, but you need to wear a mask. These are very toxic chemicals. So you wear a respirator.
Talk about the actual times when you really need a mask, not
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You need to wear a mask when you melt the electronics, okay? You could crazy amount of toxic metals, toxic stuff going up in flame in your garage, not very well ventilated. Just go to Home Depot, get a nice ventilator. Wear that sucker. Take all those precious metals, bring them, put them inside of a suitcase. You're going to need to put some other metal things in the suitcase, or else putting that thing through an X-ray at the airport is going to be very suspicious. I'm not sure what the customs regulations are on moving, $50,000 worth of bromide and gold and silver and other rare composites over national borders. But you're going to get on down to Argentina, catch a boat over to Antarctica. Here's the thing. See, we got to lay a little trap. If we're going to infiltrate, figure out what Dr. Ash is doing out there, we got to lay a little trap. So walk out into the Great White Desert as far as you possibly can. You're going to want to bring a cardboard box and a stick and some string. You put that rare metal down there, right there in the meteorite heaven. Then you're going to need to set up a little trap with the box, and you put the stick there, kind of like a Bugs Bunny looking thing. Tie the string to the stick and go hide behind a snowman. And soon you'll see Dr. Ash. She'll come sniffing around. She's looking around. She can sniff out precious metals and meteorites wherever they may be. And you got to wait. You got to be patient. She's going to be very skittish. She's going to sniff that little ball of precious metals. You got to wait until she's entirely under the box. And then you pull the string, and then the box falls, and you got her. You caught Dr. Ash, baby. And now we can figure out what's really happening down there in Antarctica. And somehow then we'll bring Dr. Ash on the show, and we can interview her, and she will tell us the truth, and we'll be so excited to get all the press from an interview with Dr. Ash.
Not just Dr. Ash, but perhaps Ralph Harvey, professor in the Department of Earth, Environmental and Planetary Science at Case Western Reserve.
Right.
Let me finish.
Okay. Yeah.
His primary research focus is the geochemistry of secondary minerals found in planetary materials, meteorites, Mars rocks, meteorites, and analogous terrestrial rocks, that record their environmental history. Specific research projects include experimental simulations of weathering of rocks on Venus.
Oh, cool.
Measurements.
Sounds useful.
Measurements of the fundamental stickiness of very small asteroids. Stickiness is in quotes. Yes. The recovery and characterization of extraterrestrial materials from Antarctic sediments and ice He says it right there, extraterrestrial materials. Exploring the volcanic and climate history of Mars through Martian meteorites and the recent history of the East Antarctic ice sheet. He's the principal investigator of the U.S.'s Antarctic search for meteorites and SMET since 1991. And he is a fellow at the Geological Society of America and the Meteorological Society, and has both an asteroid and an Antarctic mountain named after him. He's got an asteroid and a mountain named after him.
Ralph Harvey Mountain. Perhaps this is where we will set our trap.
Oh, it's not. That's
Dr.
not all.
Ash.
That's not all.
Okay.
One more thing. He's hoping to add a new science to that list. Ralphtroscopy, as suggested by his friends on the Seeking Space Rocks team. He wants a scientific method or procedure or some kind of discipline named after him.
Is this the study?
Ralphtroscopy.
Is this the study of Ralph or the study
of space rocks? The way of Ralph. Yeah, I think it's Ralph's way of studying space rocks.
So there you go. You know, really, whatever we catch down there, whatever weird science person we catch down in Antarctica will be good for the show. I mean, usually other podcasts, here's the thing, folks, other podcasts would simply send an email to these people. Scientists, they don't get a whole lot of requests and probably fairly attainable interview, but we don't do it that way. We do it our own way. We're going to catch them in a little trap, and that'll really help out the show. You don't have to do it that way, but you could do it any way you want. So just know, we like to call it rattling cages, and if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. All right, Gonz, any last words?
I think that's it. For those of you watching, you've been watching me yawn and tear up the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's bedtime.
It's hurting right now.
So the big secret thing you had was just the Ralph info.
I think it's kind of a big deal that the dude had an asteroid and a mountain in Antarctica named after him. I think we do need to keep track of this guy.
And see, that's what I'm telling you. My instincts knew when I read the name Ralph Harvey, I knew that this was somebody we needed to pay attention to. And turns out it's true. That's why we're a good team, Gonz.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Ralph Harvey.
Ralph Scops the key.
For God's sake.
This is the way.
We will hunt you down and make you pay.
This is the way.
We're all gonna die.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have?
It's okay.
No. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap.
It takes time. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love peeling off that big old lint trap, rolling it into a ball, peeling off that big old lint trap, just like just thrown it in the trash, really. Should I be saving this? No. You could knit it into a scarf or something? No. Surely. It's very soft. No. This would make really good fire starter. You are a weird prepper. Hoarder. Like a weird guy, man. Weird prepper. Not normal, like a weird guy, man. Clearing out that lint trap. No. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. That lint trap. I know it's gross, folks.
A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
You gotta clear this out. It's like a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
You gotta clear this out. A lint catcher.
I love that. I'm constantly having to remind myself to wear a pink shirt for the show. Constantly having to remind myself, save the dryer lint, use it as fire starter, knit a scarf, save the dryer lint. Wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
I'm an adult in a spaceship.
Supersonic space lane screamed to life and the vehicle swooped upward. On board, the passengers experienced a 3 G's of force from the burst of extreme acceleration and watched the blue sky fade into space.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Oh, yeah.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Yes, do it, Richard. Do it, Jeff. Do it for humanity.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
He can accomplish it. You can too. Big windows, cool. Rocket ship, cool. Space plane, cool.
Nukes,
cool.
Blowing stuff up,
cool. Space plane, astronaut, rocket ship.
Serious anchor.
We have Basil. He's a human. Just look at him. Go to the bathroom in bags. He can go to the bathroom in the cosmos. It changed everything. Wives in space, children in the cosmos, with your best friend brother. Wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
We are headed to space.
patreon.com/support.